Soldier Field, Chicago, Illinois. This venerable stadium will be a wild scene tonight. Two of the oldest rivals in pro football history meeting, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. And the Windy City, Chicago, has been upside down this past week. The Bears are undefeated and off to their best start in 43 years. While the Green Bay Packers have won their last two, tonight they'll be looking for the upset. Hello again, everyone. I'm Frank Gifford, and along with O.J. Simpson and Joe Namath, we welcome you, and we're delighted you're with us. We think we have another good football game coming your way, one that could even turn into a wild one. The 6-0 Chicago Bears, they're already talking Super Bowl here in Chicago. Certainly they're talking undefeated season. And the 3-3 Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are talking about beating the Bears tonight. So we could have quite a football game coming your way. I should have welcomed you, by the way, to the nursery, because once again we are announcing the arrival of another #1 draft pick. She is Sydney Brooks Simpson. She arrived on the scene last Thursday night. Congratulations to you and Nicole, O.J.
Thank you, Frank. It was quite a night. Now, Sydney's the small one, the big one, that's me. It was Thursday night at 10:45, and it was the first time I'd ever spent time in a delivery room, and it's truly a miracle.
Indeed it is. And I wonder, O.J., can you get your mind on this one tonight?
Well, I'll try to. I'll focus on Green Bay because I'm used to focusing on the underdogs, and they're underdogs tonight. I think they may have one advantage, and that's the experience of their quarterback, Lynn Dickey. Now, what the Bears do, they do an unusual thing. Sometimes they'll have linemen cover backs, and sometimes they'll have linebackers cover the wide receivers. And I think Dickey's experience should be able to take advantage of some of those mismatches. What they must do on offense is be conservative, run the ball, try to drop the ball off to their backs, and hopefully force these Bears to miss and come up with some big plays. Of course, with James Lofton and Eddie Lee Ivory, they have the guys who can make those big plays. One thing they must not do is force Dickey into a must-pass situation, because he's not mobile and he could be live bait if they force him to must throw the football. Well, let's turn to Jessica Grace's dad, who is sitting here, and you tell me, what do you think about the Chicago Bears, Joe?
Well, first of all, I think the Chicago Bears are the best team in football right now. Defensively, we've heard people talk about the 46 defense. Well, it's not the kind of defense that's being played. It's the people that are playing it, and the Bears have excellent personnel. Offensively, the Bears have Willie Gault, McKinnon, Payton, McMahon. They're going to score a lot of points, and for Green Bay to win this game tonight, well, they're going to have a Herculean effort, because the Bears are mighty good. Well, let's get to the battle, Frank.
And where the Bears really excel is on defense, and they will have that opportunity as the Green Bay Packers have won the toss, and they will receive to the right. This is the 130th time these two teams have met. It's the longest continual rivalry in the National Football League. It all began when Chicago was the Decatur Staleys. And, of course, the Bears are fired up. They are 6-0. The last time they got off to this kind of a start, Sid Luckman was the quarterback back in 1942. Sid Luckman watching tonight. Deep for Green Bay, Gary Ellison, number 42, and Harlan Huckabee drop. Kevin Butler, the rookie from Georgia, fine kicker, will put it in the air. We're underway before a sellout crowd, 65,000 plus. Gary Ellison will bring it out. And Ellison hit at the 19-yard line in typical Bear fashion. And out comes Lynn Dickey. I talked to Forrest Gregg right before the game. What they know they must do is cool this Bear defense off early. They will come out smoking, led, of course, by Mike Singletary, number 50, the middle linebacker. And here is the 15-year veteran. He has seen it all. A healthy Lynn Dickey over the past few years, racked with injuries early in his career. But over the last couple of seasons, there have only been a couple of quarterbacks, Dan Fouts specifically, Dan Marino, that have put up the kind of numbers he has in terms of touchdowns and yardage. You give Dickey time, he will flat beat you. The offensive unit. The handoff goes to Jesse Clark, and Clark works to the 23-yard line. Give him 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6. Defensively, I mentioned Mike Singletary at the middle. They make him do a lot of things behind that 4-man front. That's how they open. Singletary will cover a back out of the backfield. He'll work against the tight end. There are the linebackers. And the cornerbacks, Leslie Frazier, 21, Mike Richardson, 27. They leave them in a lot of single coverage. They count on the great pass rush, and they'll leave their cornerbacks in single coverage many times. Clark is in motion, and Eddie Lee Ivory over the 25 to the 27, short of a first down by about 3. It'll be 3rd down and 3. Dan Hampton was there defensively for the Bears. There is Ivory, coming off a broken thumb in preseason. He had a big game a week ago as he steps out of the lineup for the moment, and Gary Ellis comes in. They'll rotate these backs, the Green Bay Packers. They've been running well all this season. Rated third rushing the football in the NFC. Sixth overall offensively. And they've won their last two. Third down and 3. And Dickey puts it in the air. Tries to get the first down. He's very close to it. He needed to get just out over the 29-yard line, and he'll have the first down in the arms of Steve McMichael. So we talked about his lack of mobility, and yet he gets the first down.
Yeah, lack of mobility. He was trying to get the ball out there to Lofton on a slant pattern, and Mike Richardson had him covered like a blanket.
Well, fortunately, he only needed a few yards for the first down, and it was a quick setup, about a 2-step setup, and he only had to run about 4 yards.
Former teammate of mine with the glasses on, Bob Schnelker, offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. In his second tour of duty there, now working under Forrest Gregg. On first down and 10, the Packers just inside their own 30-yard line. Eddie Lee Ivory breaks a tackle, and Ivory's up close to the 35-yard line. He'll get 6 out of that in the arms of Otis Wilson. It'll be second down and 4. Ivory, good running back. Came up number 1 draft pick, 79 as a rookie in his very first game against the Bears. Injured knee, missed the season. Came back 80, had himself a big year in 81. First game of the season against the Bears, another knee, missed another entire season, and he's healthy once again. He checks out. Jesse Clark will be the single setback as the 2 tight ends operate for Green Bay. Second down and 6. Clark, left side, he's upended, sprawls out over the 35. The ball is loose. There's a scramble. Bears are saying they have it. Clark has not fumbled in 73 handles thus far this season. The Green Bay Packers will maintain possession.
I'm going to say the Bears are saying they're having it, but the referee is saying that the Packers have it. You know, I look for Dickey to go back to Lofton on that last pattern and have Lofton break it upfield. As tight as Richardson had him covered on the slant, I would like to see a slant and go sometime.
All right, it'll be third down. Ball out near the 38-yard line. It'll be just short of 2 yards for the first down. On a 3rd and 3, Dickey a few moments ago tried to go to Lofton and had to run for the first down. The Bears are all up there. Clark, he'll be short of the first down. Clark is short of the first down near the 39-yard line. Forrest Gregg, Hall of Famer, former head coach with the Cleveland Browns. The Cincinnati Bengals took the Bengals to the Super Bowl after the 81 season. Went up and coached at Toronto. Now back in his second year at Green Bay. Joe Prokop comes on to punt for Green Bay. Ken Taylor drops for the Bears. Prokop acquired right at the beginning of the season after he was dropped by the New York Giants. He was in a duel there with Sean Landetta, who won the job. Dave Jennings went to the Jets. Prokop came to the Bears. Prokop, not a good kick, hangs it up end over end, and Ken Taylor does not call for the fair catch, and he is nailed at the 31-yard line by Gary Hayes. Poor kick, 32 yards by Prokop, who has the lowest average in the NFC. They have been struggling with their punting unit. And consequently, the Bears will have good field position. The Chicago Bears, their first possession of the first quarter from Soldier Field in Chicago. The quarterback is Jim McMahon. Earning more and more respect with each passing game. This young quarterback out of BYU. There was movement. The ball is loose. There's a scramble. Randy Scott is on the football. And apparently a Packer was drawn offside, and they are going to get the turnover. Bitterly complaining is Jay Hilgenberg, the center. The exchange was between Hilgenberg and McMahon. The ball was lost, and Randy Scott recovered.
Yeah, but you have to go until the echo of the whistle. To me, it looked like they just quit on the play. I thought McMahon may have been able to go after the ball, but he just stood around, and so did the center.
Well, obviously, he thought the Green Bay player was offside because he made no effort to go for the ball, and normally on a fumble exchange from center to quarterback, the quarterback's the first guy to go after the ball.
So Green Bay with the first break of the night. We have 11-11 remaining in the first quarter. And the Packers will have the ball near the 29-yard line of the Bears. They would love to get it quickly. And, of course, the big threat is Lofton, number 80. Dickey goes to Epps. And Epps is taken out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Epps will get 8. It'll be 2nd down and 2 as Mike Ditka, former Chicago Bear, who was such a star of the team that won the '63 championship over the Giants 14-10. Later played for Philadelphia. Later the Dallas Cowboys, along with Forrest Gregg in 1971. They were both there. They both went to the Super Bowl with the Cowboys as players. So many interlinking facts here tonight. Later, Ditka coached 9 years with the Cowboys. He's in his 4th with the Bears. On 2nd and 2, Ivory carrying Bears inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. Mike Singletary and Steve McMichael had Ivory. They couldn't get him down. And, Jay, I guess we understand why they are 3rd in the conference in rushing.
Well, they're doing an excellent job up front. And, of course, with Eddie Lee Ivory in the game, they're getting outside better than they have in the past. They really have an excellent running game. When you look at some of the averages per carry, some of their guys like Jesse Clark, he's averaging 5.7 yards a carry. They're doing a job up front, Frank.
Over 148 yards a game rushing. Clark works back to the inside. Pressure was Richard Dent. Slowed him down, and Clark just does get back to the line of scrimmage. Back, he'll lose a yard on that. It'll be 2nd down and 11. There is big number 95, Richard Dent. Had a great season a year ago, 17.5 sacks, tops in the NFC. They got him in the 8th round back in '83. Dan Hampton got hurt in '82. In '83, rather, he got an opportunity, and they can't get him out of there. And that's what Green Bay feared the most. Gary Fency gets the interception as Lynn Dickey was hurried into a pass he did not want to throw. He was decked after he delivered it, but the Bears get the turnover and they get the football back. They can come at you in so many ways under defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan's defense. They were right in Dickey's face. That's what they wanted to do. They told us they wanted to do that. Dickey threw a bad pass to the end. Kaufman is picked off by Fency. So the Bears get their turnover, and they get the football back. They have it at their own 7-yard line. Still no score. We'll be back. The former record-setting wide receiver from Yale was right there once again, his 33rd career interception. He gets the turnover for the Bears. They turn back a golden opportunity for the Packers to get on the scoreboard on 1st down. Walter Payton outside. And His Highness is out over the 25 to the 27-yard line. Mike Lee takes him out of bounds, and Walter Payton gets the Bears out of the shadow of their own goalpost.
Take a look at this. This is classic Walter Payton. He makes contact with the defensive players more than any great back that's ever played this game, but he is so strong. He just pushes off. Will push off another back.
And you
that's
talk
Walter.
About the 13,700 yards plus that he has made. This is his 143rd consecutive start. That's amazing for a running back on 1st down. McMahon, Suey. And Matsui loses the football. It's loose, and the Packers have it back. The Packers get it back at the 40-yard line. Mike Douglas, as he does so often, makes the big play. Is noted for the turnover, the interception, the fumble recovery, and Douglas gets it back for the Green Bay Packers as we have a hitting football game tonight. McMahon, a fierce competitor. Let's look again.
Take a look at him. Just a drop-off pass. There's really no one out here to cover Sue. Put the ball away.
Randy Scott put the hit on Suey. Mike Douglas, opportunistic as always, was there. 1st down at the 40-yard line of the Bears. And the Green Bay Packers have it back once again. Dickey. Lofton. Dickey almost got over the line of scrimmage, but he delivered it a yard short into the hands of Lofton. 1st down, Green Bay at the 27-yard line of the Bears.
Well, it takes a wily veteran to do what Dickey just did there. I mean, he was so close to that line of scrimmage, but he was able to pull up and throw the pass.
Mike Douglas, 214 pounds, but he does make things happen defensively for the Packers. The First down is inside the 27-yard line of the Bears. 8:55 and the clock is moving, remaining in the first quarter. The two tight ends are in. Ed West, 86, Kaufman, 82. That means a single setback, 33, Clark. Here's Clark. Finsick with a fine open field tackle. And he drops Clark after a 4-yard pickup near the 21-yard line.
Tell you, amazing thing about this Clark, he's 6 foot tall. He weighs 233 pounds. Now, normally you won't see a back with those dimensions averaging near 6 yards a carry, but you saw on that play, the kid has a lot of acceleration. He's pretty fast.
The leading rusher into tonight with 376 yards, a 7th-round pick out of Arkansas in 1983, Jesse Clark. Third down and 6. Dickey changing it up. Clark. And Clark is hammered behind the line of scrimmage. Singletary, who seems to be always around the football, was there for the stop. There will be a loss of a yard. Mike Singletary, 3 sacks into tonight. Second to Finsick in tackles. Just everywhere. And one of the reasons that Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator, can use the 4-6, the 46 they call it, so effectively. Singletary can do most anything. Third down and 6. He'll cover a back out of the backfield, occasionally go with the tight end. Whistles and flags on the 3rd and 6. A referee tonight is Chuck Heberling.
55, offense, third down.
Ron Hallstrom, the right guard, with a false start. And the pack will be backed up. Tyrone Keys, number 99, is in for Mike Hartenstein defensively for the Bears. Third down now and 11. Fast-moving first quarter and a hard-hitting first quarter. The Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Dickey is back. He has time this time. Lofton's wide open. Touchdown. Dickey, Lofton. You give Dickey time. Lofton's going to get open, and Dickey is going to put it there.
That's the pattern. Len Dickey told me this is Lofton's favorite pattern, the pattern he runs best. He ran a post corner pattern. He made a break to the inside, and then he broke to the outside toward the corner and left Richardson in his tracks.
Cannot give Dickey that kind of time. He is a brilliant passer. He does not move around too well in the pocket, but you give him time with a receiver like Lofton. Watch his move. A little quick look to the inside. Absolutely destroyed 22 Durison on the inside. Richardson was too far upfield to get back. Del Greco for the conversion. Zorn gets it down, and the Packers have quieted a 65,000 plus sellout crowd here in Soldier Field. We'll be back in a moment. James Lofton with 2 receptions tonight. Now, in just 8 years, needs only 59 passes to surpass the legendary Don Hudson as the all-time leading receiver for the Green Bay Packers. That's Lofton right there with the cape. It's cool down on this field tonight, but he put a move on Durison, got behind Richardson. Dickey had the time, and he put it right in stride. Deep, Willie Galt, number 83, a dangerous return man. So dangerous, the Packers will put it on the ground. Del Greco did not want to kick away to Willie Galt, who's leading the league in kickoff returns. So the Bears will have good field position near their own 30-yard line. The Green Bay Packers off to a 7-0 lead. They won here at the end of last season, 20-14, when neither McMahon, the quarterback for the Bears, or Dickey, the quarterback for the Packers, played. Jim McMahon, the number 1 passer in the NFC. Wants it back quickly, going to Willie Galt. And beyond his outstretched hands. Double coverage on Willie Galt deep downfield. But McMahon getting the Green Bay Packers secondary's attention.
That was a zone coverage, and they had 2 guys back there trying to keep up with Galt, and Galt ran by both of them.
Number 41, Tom Flynn, he had given Galt about 15 yards, and Galt still ran by him. I think that's going to open up some of those cross patterns later on. He's going to have to give him a much bigger cushion.
Willie Galt, of course, the first-round pick in '83. Had he chose to do so and not turn pro, would perhaps, in all probability, been in the Olympics. as a hurdler or perhaps even a sprinter. World-class sprinter from the University of Tennessee, Willie Gault. It'll be second down and 10. Matt Suey is number 26. Peyton, 34. Movement again at that line of scrimmage. Peyton. And Peyton has first down yardage, I believe, out over the 40-yard line. An 11-yard pickup. The two linebackers, Scott and Anderson, defensively there for Green Bay. And it will be first and 10, the Bears. Frank Gifford, along with Joe Namath, O.J. Simpson, a new father. He and Nicole having a beautiful little girl that arrived last Thursday. Sydney Brook, 5 pounds, 11 ounces, watching the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. First quarter action, 6:05 remaining in the first quarter. The Packers have scored first. Touchdown pass, Dickey to Lofton from 27 yards out. They lead the Bears 7-0. On first and 10, McMahon. Play action to Peyton. The tight end, Emory Moorhead, was open, and McMahon didn't get it to him. And already we have a scuffle down on the field. These two teams, bitter rivals over the many years. They first played in 1921. Jim McMahon. What a show he put on a few weeks ago on a Thursday night telecast we brought you. They were not going to play him. They called him a catastrophe quarterback that night. Did this man, his head coach Mike Ditka. He finally talked Ditka into letting him into the ball game. And the Bears were trailing the Vikings 17-9 in the third quarter. He came on, fired 3 touchdown passes, had 8 completions on the night, 263 yards, and the Bears romped all over the Vikings. He's that kind of quarterback. He is electric. Second down and 10. Everyone in the pattern. McMahon gets it to Peyton. It gives you a thrill and then gets the first down at the 43-yard line. 17-yard pickup.
Hey, I know this Green Bay team has a lot of confidence in Brian Noble, their young linebacker, but there's no way that Brian Noble is going to be able to keep up with Walter Payton. That's what happens this time, as you see Walter running away from him right there.
Anderson finally pursues and makes the stop, and the Bears are on the prowl. They're at the 43-yard line now, the Packers.
You know, the Bears have been behind. They've come from behind 4 out of their 6 wins this season, so I don't think they're pushing any panic button yet.
They whack on you, and they whack on you, and they wear you down. They're a throwback to the old physical football team. Peyton on first down inside the 40, near the 38-yard line. He'll get 5 to bring up second down and 5.
Well, that wasn't a huge hole, but the offensive line did a good job of pushing the Green Bay line back. The first 2 times Walter ran the ball, he had huge holes to run through, and if I was McMahon, I'd just relax a little here, take a little time and let him run the football and force Green Bay to prove they can stop them from running it.
Yeah, I agree. Last week, the Bears' offensive line and defensive line as well got game balls they played so well. I'd let the guys in the pits decide it.
Second down at the 38-yard line. Second and 5. Now McMahon changes off and draws the Packers off. McMahon after Moorhead, but the contact had been made. Charlie Martin into the center, Jay Hilgenberg, and the flag is down.
I think this is what happened on that first fumble of the game, and that's why McMahon was complaining earlier.
Encroachment, number 94, defense, 5 yards.
That should give the Bears a first down by about a foot. First and 10, the Chicago Bears. I'll tell you, I've been in this town for the past 3 days, and everywhere you go, everyone you talk to, what about the Bears? They didn't ask much about Green Bay. They said, can they go all the way? Can they do it undefeated? And can they win the Super Bowl?
Well, the interesting thing about the Bears, they have a lot of respect for Green Bay. It was interesting to hear Otis Wilson say that the Packers tries to intimidate them. Try to intimidate the Bears?
They wrote the book on that. At the 38-yard line, first and 10. Matt Suey, and he's hit at the line of scrimmage. Randy Scott makes the stop. It'll be second down and 10. Matt Suey, who works so quietly in the shadow of Walter Payton, but so responsible for much of the heroics of Walter Payton. Good blocker, steady out of the backfield, good receiver, all-around athlete of Penn State. Works almost in obscurity because of the fame of the great Walter Payton, and deservedly so, because nobody has done it over the years like Walter Payton. There was a loss of a couple. It'll be 2nd and 12. McMahon. Dennis McKinnon, and the ball is loose. And the Packers have it back. It's Randy Scott. And Randy Scott gets another turnover. And McKinnon would have given the Bears a first down inside the 10. And now Jim McMahon smarting a little, a fiery competitor, and he can explode at any time. Up at the top is Willie Gault. McKinnon is at the bottom.
McKinnon simply runs a post pattern. It's man-for-man coverage here. And McMahon reads it and throws a strike, but it's a heck of a tackle by Mark Lee, who strips the ball from McMahon.
I'll tell you an interesting thing. It's a little cold here. It's going to get colder in Chicago, but it's normally the first week the temperature drops that you start having trouble holding on to the ball. When it's snowing, you'll hold on to the ball a little better.
3 Bear turnovers. The Packers lead 7-0. 3:01 remaining in the first quarter. Packers work again on the ground. Jesse Clark over the left side. He'll lose a couple as it's a swarming Bear defense headed by Wilbur Marshall on the outside and Mike Singletary, the middle linebacker.
Well, they had something working on that play, but Greg Cook, number 68, a tackle, was pulling, and he tripped over one of his own men's legs, obviously, and fell right in the hole.
It's Randy Scott, second leading tackler on this Green Bay team. He gets another turnover. 2nd and 11. Ball at the 14-yard line of the Packers. Ivory. And now the Bear defense is getting the attention of the crowd, and they rise almost on each play. Ivory gets 3 yards out of it, but it will still leave Dickey in a 3rd and long situation. You heard O.J. at the very top of our telecast say you don't want to get him into this kind of situation. The must pass. He'll have to put it in the air. The Bears totally will disregard the run, and they could bring everyone but defensive coordinator Buddy Curry, or Buddy Ryan rather. Blake Moore comes in at center for the shotgun. Dickey throws another interception. He was under pressure. Richardson makes this interception. Now Dickey is getting into a little bit of a row with Richard Dent down at the goal line. Dent knocked Dickey back to the surface after Dickey had got up.
Yeah, the official could have called a penalty on that one. I tell you, this is a sloppy football game. That's the 5th turnover, and the first quarter's not even over yet.
Dickey again under pressure. The Bears knew that's what they had to do to Glenn Dickey. And that's exactly what they've been doing. They have come up with 2 interceptions with Bear rushing linemen right in Dickey's face. So the Bears now have it back at the 31-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. 1:36 remaining in the first quarter, and the Bears trailing 7-0. Moorhead is in motion. This is McKinnon. A little screen out to McKinnon. He had Moorhead out in front, but the Green Bay Packers will hold him to 4. Let's go back and we'll take a look at the interception. First, the pressure on Dickey. It comes in the form of Richard Dent on the left side, who had a deal working with Ezra Johnson. Dickey put it up in the air. Mike Richardson is there, and the Bears get the turnover.
Well, Lofton never got out of his break. Lofton was trying to run a square in. I don't know whether he lost his footing or what, but he never got out of his break.
2nd down and 6 as Mike Singletary lifts on. McMahon. Out of the backfield is Walter Payton. Yes, now they're saying he's out. And the crowd doesn't like it. McMahon doesn't like it. But they were right on top of it.
Walter made an excellent catch. Actually, Green Bay was in the correct defense. Number 26, Tim Lewis, was covering Walter. You want a cornerback on a running back, you should be able to cover the man, but Walter goes up, makes an excellent catch, and he comes down. Well, it looked like a 1 foot and a knee hit. Wrong knee.
Very close. Payton with a fine catch. You must come down with both feet in bounds. 3rd down and 6. 4 wide receivers are in. Margarine, 82, is in there with Brad Anderson. They join McKinnon and Galt for the Bears. McKinnon in motion. Flag will go down. A free one for the Bears. A Packer was offside, and the Bears had a free opportunity. They made the most of it. Willie Galt coming down with first down yardage. Anderson was there defensively.
Offside. Defense. Number 59. Penalty is declined. First down.
First down, Chicago, near the 20-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. First and 10, the Bears. They trail 7-0. Inside 1 minute remaining in the first quarter. Walter Payton. Payton inside the 15. He's down close to the 12-yard line. Just good, hard running. It'll be second down and 2. Tom Flynn had to make the stop from the safety position.
Of course, Walter, and they don't rely on him as much as they did in the past when he was their only offense. I think Walter is enjoying himself a lot more today because he doesn't have as much pressure on him. But in a game like they're playing tonight, the holes that they're opening for Walter, if they gave him the ball the way they would 5-6 years ago, Walter may break an NFL rushing record here tonight.
The Bears are going to let the final seconds tick off. That's what they do. And the first quarter expires with the Green Bay Packers on top 7-0 and the Bears threatening. I don't know all those other guys, but I know Sidney Brooke Simpson's father, O.J., and Jessica Grace Namath's father, JoJo. A couple of proud fathers here in the nursery. Watching a very interesting football game. Two bitter rivals, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Been playing now since 1921. Bears 6-0 in the season. The Green Bay Packers 3-3. Bears down 7-0 as we begin the second quarter. They're looking at a second down and 3. The ball at the 12-yard line of the Packers. Matsui is taken from behind. He'll be short of the first down, and again a scuffle breaks out.
Now that was a good tackle, good penetration by Donnie Humphrey that time. He came from the right end position. These guys have been wanting to fight all night from the first quarter on.
That's what we said. They said both teams are intimidators, and when the Bears told me this morning that Green Bay attempts to intimidate them, I mean, I was shocked. That's obviously what they're trying to do to one another.
So he lost about a yard. It'll be 3rd and 3.
378! 378!
Moorhead on the move. Matsui. Matsui almost breaks it into the end zone. He gets the first down at the 2-yard line. It'll be first down, goal to go.
Matsui did an excellent job on that run. He's as I said, you said he's a good back to be in the backfield with Payton. The best thing he has is his attitude. He's happy for Walter whenever Walter can get the yards, and here's his chance to score. Of course, if that was Walter with the ball, he would have turned up a little sooner and been dancing in the end zone.
The two guards pulled that time, Mark Bortz and Tom Thayer, to lead interference, and they did a heck of a job.
The Bears bring in the refrigerator, William Perry, their #1 draft pick from Clemson, the 350-pounder. They put him in the backfield. The crowd loves it. But now Jim McMahon does not like what he sees across the line of scrimmage, and he does not like what he sees with the 30-second clock. It was ticking off. He calls timeout.
I'm a little concerned about that. As you know, Perry, the refrigerator, he carried the ball 2 times last week for 4 yards against the 49ers.
Perry's running back in the backfield now for the Chicago Bears is Walter Payton, the refrigerator. They call him Biscuit because when he came to camp, it was Hampton who looked at him and said, "One more biscuit and you'll be over 350 pounds."
That's thunder and speed.
There he is, the big number 72.
Thunder and lightning.
First and goal to go. Payton, hangs in behind the refrigerator. And this crowd loves it. They've been writing about this. They stuck him in the backfield a week ago against the 49ers. Many thought out of spite for Bill Walsh's use of Guy McIntyre in the NFL championship game, NFC championship game a year ago when they used Guy McIntyre in the backfield. But look at him.
Look at
350 pounds leading Walter Payton.
He hits George Crumby, number 52, and watch him. Oh.
It took him right out of the stadium.
That's Crumby.
Sellout crowd oohing and awing as Kevin Butler is on to tie it up. Putting the uprights as Butler, and we have a tie football game as Peyton scores behind the lead block of William Perry, the rookie from Clemson. William Perry arrived in training camp at about 3:50. Buddy Ryan said it was a wasted draft pick, but Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator, didn't know that he could work into the backfield like he has. As a matter of fact, he's turned into a fine defensive lineman. Clemson #1 draft pick. Kevin Butler to kick. Ball is bobbled by Ellis, and he'll have to bring it out. The Packers are in trouble at the 3-yard line.
Not a smart play by Ellis. He should have let the ball roll into the end zone and then downed it. He could have downed the ball in the end zone had he let it roll in there.
Let's look at William Perry, his lead block once again for Walter Payton. Moorhead leads at number 87, but look at Perry. He looks like a Mack truck. Just bowling over number 52. That is the linebacker, Cumbie.
He knocked him into next week is what he did.
I wonder if Cumbie knew he was coming at him.
He was outweighed 101 pounds at least.
Green Bay, a first down at their own 4-yard line. Ivory is the single setback. Ivory. Good move by Ivory. Just missed the Durison at the goal line. Finally, Ivory goes down in the arms of Hampton right at the line of scrimmage. It was a sloppy played game in the first quarter. There were 5 turnovers. 3 Bear fumbles, 2 Packer interceptions. Sloppy and really hard hitting. Characteristic of a Bear Green Bay Packer game. 6-0. Chicago Bears, the 3-3 Green Bay Packers in the Central Division of the NFC. 2nd and 10. Clark. And smothered. Otis Wilson. Again at the line of scrimmage. Perhaps a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
Well, that Richard Dent has given Carl Swank some fits over there. Dent is getting across that line so quickly. And again, that's the reason this defense works, because of Richard Dent, Dan Hampton, and Steve McMichael. Those 3 interior linemen are really outrageous football players.
Now, the Packers want timeout. And the limping Packer is the quarterback, Lynn Dickey. I did not see what happened to him on that last play, but he obviously is in pain. In fact, he is having a difficult time getting off the field. Looks to be something with either the right knee or the right ankle, or perhaps the right hip. Lynn Dickey was throwing a 27-yard touchdown pass tonight to James Lofton. Over the years, so many injuries to Lynn Dickey in the 15 years that he has played this game. Came up with the Houston Oilers as a rookie, dislocated his hip. I did not think he'd ever play after that one. He traded to the Packers 5 years later. Broke a leg, shoulder, and it wasn't until about 4 years ago that he completed a full season. Randy Wright comes in, the second-year man out of Wisconsin for the season, 22 of 41. A couple of touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He started the Cardinal game for Green Bay 3 weeks ago. He's in there now. Randy Wright, he can run it. It's a lot of distance, hit from behind. Chasing him down was Dan Hampton and Tyrone Keys. Just short of the first down is Randy Wright. We'll try to get a definitive word on the condition of Lynn Dickey. He did not appear to have been hit. Right now, we'll see the punting unit as Dickey continues to stretch that right leg.
Well, one good thing is Randy Wright just showed he can run, and I got a feeling he's going to have to do a lot of that before the night's over.
Prokop comes on, and Ken Taylor drops for the Bears. All things being equal, the Bears are going to have the ball back in good field position. Prokop. Again, it doesn't turn over. Taylor takes it at the 42-yard line. And it's a reverse. Goodbye. Goodbye. Lots of running room for Gentry. Down the sideline, Dennis Gentry. Gentry all the way to the 11-yard line. 47-yard return as the Bears come up with a little trick of their own. Take a look at it again. Taylor really made it look good. Looked upfield, and here comes Dennis Gentry with a lot of speed. The picket line set up by the Bears beautifully. Gentry directing traffic. And Gentry finally stepping out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
And who makes the tackle? The kicker.
Prokop. And we're tied at 7 here in the second quarter. And the Bears have a first down near the 10-yard line once again of the Packers. And now McMahon wants to change up. Matt Suey. Suey goes down at the line of scrimmage. Robert Brown was there, and a flag is also down.
Well, what is this? This is just, they're opening up a bag of tricks, because I've never seen a play like that play, and looked like it was going to be a pass, and he sort of shovel passed the ball out to Suey.
Bears holding. And once again, a mistake will cost the Bears yardage.
One thing, if you make this game fun, you're going to get better playing football players, and one thing Mike Ditka appeared to have done this year is he's made this game fun for these Bears.
Jim McMahon helps also. He keeps it fun on offense.
Number 34.
Walter Payton called for holding. Sweetness is caught holding.
Well, that last play was just a quick toss to Matt Suey, and Walter knew it was a quick pass, so he was right on the linebacker immediately and got called for holding.
It was the weirdest play I've ever seen. It was a half roll, and then he sort of pushed the ball out to Suey.
Easy completion.
First down now, Bears near the 20-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. Walter Payton with the fake. And McMahon with a lot of time comes back to Payton on the pass. Ball is free once again, and Green Bay covers. Robert Brown. Payton coughs it up, and the Bears now have fumbled four times.
I don't believe this. I don't think anyone believes this. The field isn't wet. It's not raining. Why are they dropping the ball so much?
This is the first week it's really gotten cold here, and sometimes you get a film on your hands. You got to get used to the cold weather. You can see Walter's not the primary receiver. He's just open. He gets the ball and picked up about 9 or 10 yards on this play, and he just coughed up the football.
Mark Lee was there for the hit. Robert Brown covered the football, and the Packers have it back at their own 12-yard line. We'll be back. The Green Bay Packers, first down and 10, the ball at their own 12-yard line. Frank Gifford along with O.J. Simpson and Joe Namath. Watching a hard-hitting football game that has caused already 6 turnovers. And we have 11:02 remaining in the first half. And Dickey back at quarterback. And Dickey fires an interception taken there by Marshall. And Marshall brings it all the way back inside the 5-yard line. Third interception now for Green Bay as turnover is answered by turnover. That time he just put it right in the arms of Wilbur Marshall. Dickey trying to play with what we understand is a pulled muscle in the thigh, and that's tough to do.
Well, 7 turnovers in, 19 minutes? I haven't seen that before ever in a football game.
I can't believe he threw that ball, Joe. Kaufman was, Marshall was all over Kaufman. There was just no way he should have thrown the ball to him.
Stepped out of bounds back at the 12-yard line, so it'll be first down Bears, or rather the 17-yard line. First down Bears at that point. Willie Goff, split to the right. Out to the left is McKinnon. Suey and Payton are the setbacks. That's Matt Suey in motion. McMahon is back. Payton on the dump off. And Payton taken out of bounds by Tim Lewis. Near the 12-yard line. Gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4. Amazing. It has been a hard-hitting football game, but Len Dickey has thrown 3 interceptions tonight. I know that he himself knew that he should not have thrown. Twice he was in the arms of Bear defenders, and that one a few moments ago that he tried to get to Kaufman, Wilbur Marshall had absolutely perfect position on him. Second down and 4, Bears. Walter Payton. Payton, and they'll mark it inside the 1-yard line, even though he's sprawled close to the goal line.
Well, I don't want to be redundant, but they can do this all night. Every time Walter's gotten his hands on the ball, there have been real nice holes up front for Walter to run through, and I think Walter can run for well over 200 yards, but they continue to give him the ball tonight. Look at this. No
Huge
penetration.
opening. And the first Packer went for the ball instead of the tackle, and you don't arm tackle Walter Payton. He takes it all the way down inside the 1. First down, goal to go. Payton now. 6 carries, 55 yards, 3 receptions, 31 yards, and Perry is in the offensive backfield for the Bears. He'll be the lead blocker. They give him the football, and Perry, touchdown. William Perry spikes the football, and this crowd loves it. They've been reading about this all week long.
I'll tell you what I like about him. He looked like Marcus Allen on that play. He was airborne.
And there was nobody trying to catch him.
No airport was open.
Perry may revolutionize short yardage offense. And the Bears take the lead. Kevin Butler for the conversion. They love it in Chicago. William Perry takes it in from the 1-yard line. The Bears lead the Packers 14-7. There was Red Grange, there was Willie Gallimore, there was Gale Sayers, and now there's William Perry a moment ago. 350 pounds banging into the end zone, and he had the audacity to put it in the air, O.J.
To dive in. Give me a break, William.
Nobody wanted much to do with William Perry, however. Butler hangs it high. Ellerson will bring it out, the rookie from Wisconsin. And Ellerson to the 35-yard line. A flag is down as Ellerson is hit there by Sanders. Thomas Sanders.
There's a flag on the flag.
Well, it's been a sloppy game so far, but it's only a 7-point difference. We get the Pack going here, we can have a tight contest.
Well, I think the Pack has to go back to playing somewhat conservatively. I think they should be throwing the ball to their backs with, quick outlet passes and running the football until they get good field position, and then they can open it up.
Number 99 on the receiving team. First down.
John Dorsey holding, and a fine return by Ellerson is negated. The Green Bay Packers will have it at their own 16-yard line, 1st and 10. We're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations along the line to identify themselves. Green Bay now down 14-7. They scored first on a 27-yard touchdown pass. Lynn Dickey to James Lofton. The Bears have answered twice. Dickey, draw play, Jesse Clark. Good play by Hartenstein, the defensive left end. The line of scrimmage, and that's all. As a matter of fact, there's a loss of the yard.
A draw play is
second down and 11.
Sorry, Frank. A draw play is a difficult play to run against a defense like this because all the guys are such good athletes. They can be blocked, but they can react off a block so well. So a draw play is not a good choice of plays to run on first down against the Bears.
9 minutes remaining in the first half. Two NFC Central Division rivals. The Bears are 6-0. The Green Bay Packers are 3-3, and Dickey is back. Dickey fires his shot, and it's complete. And it goes to Phil Epps. And Epps is close to first down yardage, out near the 27-yard line. Dave Durison and Mike Richardson were there defensively. They'll mark it carefully, and we could have a measurement. Dickey once again is limping, moving very gingerly around. We told you that our word was that he had a slightly pulled muscle in his thigh.
He's a courageous man, but I tell you, I don't think he can finish this game.
Randy Wright has come in as Dickey once again is going to lead. The quarterback is Randy Wright. On 1st and 10, Jesse Clark works over the right side for a couple of yards, down in the arms of Wilbur Marshall. It'll be 2nd down and 8, but once again they look at Lynn Dickey on the sidelines. There is Dickey. And holding the hip, it seems more than the thigh, but that's what we have been told. Randy Wright, as I mentioned earlier, started against the Cardinals 3 weeks ago when Lynn Dickey volunteered to bench himself. Has not had a good game the previous week against the Jets. Wright was not effective, and Dickey came back in that game. As we look at Clark out over the 30-yard line for a couple to bring up a 3rd down and 6 situation. Steve McMichael there on the stop. Randy Wright was a 6th-round draft pick last year. And last year he was 27 of 62, did not play that much, as Lynn Dickey had a very healthy year. He threw a couple of touchdown passes and 6 interceptions in 1984. Hurt his knee against the Bears here in a game the Pack won 20-14 December the 9th, and Randy Wright underwent surgery in the offseason. He's the quarterback for the Packers now. He's under pressure, a lot of it. They could call that if they want to do. It's a referee's option. He threw the ball away. There was no potential receiver in the area, but the flags do not fly. It'll be 4th down. The pressure was by Richard Dent and Hartenstein. Out comes the punting unit for the Packers with 7:13 remaining in the first half. And Ken Taylor drops. You were with us a little earlier. You saw Taylor reverse the ball to Dennis Gentry. And Gentry brought it back 47 yards to set up a Bear touchdown. Prokop with a long count. Again, not a good kick by Prokop, but he gets a good bounce for Green Bay. Now it comes back and works against the Pack, and the Bears will have the ball at their own 23-yard line, 1st and 10. There was illegal motion on the part of the Packers, and we could see that's kicked once again. The options being discussed with Rivera, the linebacker, and yes, the Bears would like them to kick again. And our understanding now is that Lynn Dickey will go into the locker room for an in-depth examination.
5 yards, 4th down.
We'll try and get additional word on the condition of Lynn Dickey, and the Green Bay Packers will punt once again. Ken Taylor, the Bears, settles in at about the 34-yard line. There goes Dickey into the locker room. Word, as I mentioned, that we had was a pulled thigh muscle. Prokop, he's had a tough night. This time he hangs one up there with good distance, and it drives Taylor back to the 24, and he bobbles it. Taylor steps out of bounds near the 14-yard line. Jim McMahon, he is a character. We asked him what he does, what he thinks he does to help pump up a ball club, because he certainly does that.
Well, I just, I try to add some life, add some fun and excitement to the ball game. Whether it be acting stupid or just trying to get them pumped up. Or I think what it comes down to is they have a lot of confidence in my abilities. And so they're going to play that much harder because they know I can get them out of a bad situation at times. And, I like to have fun at the game, and I think that's what I bring to the offense.
And does he ever? He brings fun to it. One of the most competitive young quarterbacks around the National Football League today. We'll hear more about him at halftime. Good play action by McMahon. Gets the ball to Moorhead, and Moorhead booms out over the 35 to the 37. Good play action by McMahon. Good fake to Walter Payton. Throws the linebackers, and he was able to get it in there.
Yeah, the play action fake held the linebackers, and Moorhead ran a crossing pattern behind him, wide open.
And the former Giant and the former Denver Bronco gets the first down for the Bears up near the 37 on a 23-yard pickup. Bears leading 14-7. They're 6-0 in this young NFL season. The Green Bay Packers, winners of their last two, are 3-3. Suey in motion. Man again with a lot of time. Gets it to Moorhead, and he bobbles the ball. Will they call it incomplete? Yes. Randy Scott stripped the ball from Moorhead, but he never had possession. The pass is incomplete. Randy Scott is playing quite a football game tonight for the Packers. He's recovered a couple of fumbles and came close to causing another one right there.
Well, Randy's a good football player, of course, out of the University of Alabama. Makes his home in Tuscaloosa, Alabama in the offseason. And, I wonder if they really named him after Randolph Scott, the actor. That's really his first name, Randolph. One of my favorite Cowboys.
He is playing himself tonight. Second down and 10. McMahon's got him all in the pattern, and he still has a lot of time. Tries to get it to Payton. Payton was well covered by Tom Flynn. Second-year sensation out of Pittsburgh. Number 41 was right with Walter Payton all the way. It'll be third down and 10.
I'll tell you one thing, for the most part, the Packers are rushing their 3 down linemen, and they're not putting any pressure at all on McMahon, and I think they're going to have to start blitzing. They're not basically a blitzing team, but they can't give him this much time.
Consequently, Matt Suey and Walter Payton are both working out of the backfield, and what is happening, the Bears are getting every potential receiver into the pattern, and they're getting no pressure on McMahon.
Well, I'm surprised the Bears are passing the football as much as they are.
From the shotgun, third down and 10. McMahon is 8 of 13, 96 yards. He'll run it. McMahon gets the first down. Spotted the first down marker. Gets it out close to the 48-yard line. 11-yard pickup. Walter Payton with a good block for McMahon coming back. He saw his quarterback in trouble, double back. And a lot of people overlooked that about Walter Payton. He does everything on a football field. On the first touchdown pass against Minnesota when McMahon came in the third quarter a few weeks ago, it was Payton that made it possible. Here he is again. That is a block.
That is a good block.
Just the way they teach it.
He's strong. Unbelievably strong for his size, and perhaps one of the best conditioned athletes I've ever known. First and 10, 48-yard line. The Bears moving once again. Payton. That's what I mean by strong. Just stripping tacklers away from his body at midfield. He broke the tackles of 2 Packers. I think something is wrong with the headgear. Something is wrong with the pad. I know he has a broken shoulder pad.
I tell you, the way he's running tonight, he must be averaging 7 or 8 yards a carry. He wants to get right back, 9.1 yards a carry. Sure, he wants to get back out there as soon as possible.
Dennis Gentry comes in, number 29, to get Payton a breather. When you got something going like this, OJ, you don't want to lose it, do you?
Hey, I want to play.
Gentry. That's one way Maine. When it's working, it'll work for anyone. Gentry gets the first down. He's near the 38-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. Tom Flynn tripped him up. On the sidelines, you can bet that Payton is saying, let's get this fixed. I want to get back in there and get some more of that.
Really, because the Packers haven't stopped the Bears yet. The Bears, of course, with the 4 turnovers, stopped themselves.
If you weren't with us earlier, the Bears with 4 early fumbles, 3 in the first quarter. The Packers have had 3 interceptions. It's been that kind of night. First down, Chicago. 38-yard line of Green Bay. The blitz is on. McMahon rolls away from it. Tries to get upfield to Suey. John Anderson, very unheralded linebacker, was back there defensively. Anderson just plays perhaps a perfect game week after week, but because of the tremendous proliferation of great linebackers in the National Football League over recent years. You don't hear much about John Anderson. You probably won't until the Packers put together a playoff team. You get a lot of national coverage.
You know,
Week after week, he plays great football.
Yeah, he plays solid football. He's not what you would call an impact player. He doesn't come up with the big play that the other linebacker, number 53, Mike Douglas, does, but just solid football every week. No one's better than he.
2nd down and 10. Packers came with the blitz trying to pressure McMahon. They do it again. McMahon, as he goes down, being hit there by Randy Scott. Robert Brown was also there, got rid of the football.
Well, it's about time they started blitzing.
Some folks may have thought that there was intentional grounding, but Emery Moorhead, number 87, was in the vicinity of the pass. You know, we're talking about John Anderson in the offseason. He's a sportscaster. How about that? A sportscaster in Milwaukee on a radio station.
3rd down and 10, Chicago. 4 minutes remaining in the first half. Bears leading the Packers 14-7. The 4 wide receivers are in. Marjoram, 82, Anderson, 86. They join McKinnon and Willie Gault. Underneath to McKinnon. He has the first down. He's near the 26-yard line in the arms of Tim Lewis, a 12-yard pickup.
Someone just simply blew the coverage that time. There wasn't a defender within 10 yards of McKinnon. When he caught the pass, that is.
They move the sticks in the Bears. With the seconds ticking away, 3:30, the clock is moving. They have a first down at the 27-yard line of Green Bay. Andy Frederick comes in at right tackle for the Bears. That's Keith Van Horn. Fine offensive tackle on the right side, limped off the field. There's Van Horn. Bears are inside the 27 of the Packers. Matsui carrying the ball in the wrong arm. Squeezes a yard out of it, perhaps 2. It'll be 2nd and 8. Ezra Johnson defensively there for the stop.
Illegal motion, number 87 on the offense. First down.
That was Moorhead illegally in motion. Down will remain the same. It'll be 1st and 15. Ball now at the Pack's 32-yard line. They start the clock. We're inside 3 minutes remaining in the first half. 10th play of this drive. McMahon under pressure gets it to Matsui. Matsui with good running. He broke the tackle of Tom Flynn and will get another Bear first down. Also stopping the clock as he steps out of bounds at the 14-yard line. That was a lot of football by one player, Matsui. He broke the tackle, maintained the cool, stepped out of bounds, and conserved a timeout. Here comes the pressure from Randy Scott, number 55. Good play by McMahon. 17-yard pickup. And he saves the timeout. The Bears, of course, had to call one earlier. They only have 2 remaining. Bears on the drive. 2:35 remaining in the half. Albert Brown in the Bears backfield. And I don't believe he was drawn off. He was trying to anticipate the count. Officials huddle to work it out.
Well, that's one way to stop the Bears. I don't think that's legal, though.
That's all.
Number 93, defense, offside. First down.
Albert Brown, he was almost in the huddle with them. He's having a big year. Alfonso Carricker has a broken hand, his broken left hand. He's been filling in on passing situations, doing a lot of work, and Brown is having a big year, the 4th-year man out of EPI. Keith Van Horn appears to be all right, number 78. The Bears inside the 10 of the Packers. First down and 5. Walter Payton. And this time, Payton tries to squirt outside. Hit at the line of scrimmage. He'll still get a couple out of it. It'll be 3rd down and 1 as we get the 2-minute warning. We'll be back. Soldier Field in Chicago in a moment. Sellout crowd. Soldier Field, this venerable stadium built back in 1924, has seen some great events. Dempsey and Tunney fought here in 1927, drawing a $2.5 million gate. Some great football games. The Bears, 2nd down and 3.
350.
Silly to the 1-yard line. And will we see William Perry, the refrigerator, on the goal line offense? The
Well, I
crowd
know
is
who
already anticipating Perry coming onto the field. And here he comes. Listen to the crowd. We are watching a folk hero being made. They will write songs about William Perry. A rookie from Clemson, the #1 draft pick. Defensive coordinator Buddy Ryan said we wasted a draft pick. They know better now. Boom! Peyton following Perry. He cleaned out everything.
Tell you, George Cumby, he just said, this is unfair. Wait a minute. We have to do something about
That's twice Cumby has met the refrigerator.
Cumby has to learn to get low.
Low.
He got low. He got buried.
Watch him again. He's already scored one. He has now led his 2nd touchdown.
Oh, my.
Look at him. That was Cumby drilled again. Butler on again. Crowd still buzzing. And the Bears have opened up a 21-7 lead with 1:11 remaining in the first half. And a roar of appreciation from Bears fans. They've gone wild over this team here in Chicago. They have not been off to this kind of a start since 1942 when the Bears went 11-0. They are looking awfully good. They beat Tampa Bay in the opener. They beat New England. They beat Minnesota. They beat Washington. They beat Tampa Bay. And last week, they beat San Francisco 26-10 on William Perry's debut in the backfield. Green Bay got off rocky. They lost to New England 20-26. They beat the Giants. They lost to the Jets. They lost to the Cardinals. They won their last 2 over Detroit and Minnesota. .111 remaining in the first half. And Kevin Butler will put it in play. The Chicago Bears have a lot of fun. They're a very together team. You sense that when you talk to them individually. And that is what makes a winning football team. They have fun playing this game. It came so far a year ago. They were 10-6. They knocked off Washington in the playoffs, ultimately losing to San Francisco in the NFC title game. There is Ellison, deep for Kevin Butler's kick, and he kicks it low as the Bears want nothing big to happen. And it was Gary Ellis who scooped it up, steps out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Here's Joe.
Well, it seems that handling the kickoffs have become a major problem for Green Bay. I think this game turned around when Gary Allison muffed the kickoff back in, say, 5 minutes ago. He should have allowed the ball to roll in the end zone. That way they could have brought it out to the 20-yard line and they would have had some working room. Instead, he elected to pick it up and run with it and got tackled on the 2-yard line. A very bad decision by Allison.
And, of course, Green Bay could not negotiate a first down from there. They had to punt away, and the Bears were right back in their face once again. They lead 21-7. Green Bay. Randy Wright is the quarterback in there for Lynn Dickey, who's in the locker room being worked on. They were told he has a pulled muscle. Wright in a lot of trouble, tries to get it to Lofton. It's almost picked off by Fensick, and a flag is down. Usually in the area where we'll get the holding call against the Packers. And that's what it's going to be. holding against Green Bay. And Randy Wright really got nailed as he tried to deliver that ball to James Lofton. Let's take a look at it. Second-year man out of Wisconsin. Pursued, chased out of the pocket. Does a good job picking up on his receiver, but there is Richard Dent from behind, and that really smarts.
Offense, first down.
Eddie Lee Ivory holding for Green Bay. And the Pack is backed up to their own 20. It'll be first down and 20. Packers' 6th penalty. They've been penalized 40 yards here in the first half.
I think they should run out the clock at this point and look to do something in the second half. Going 80 yards now with 59 seconds against this Bear team is too tough.
Nevertheless, they stay on the shotgun. And come with the handoff to Jesse Clark. Clark, good yardage, all the way up to the 35-yard line as he gets 15 of it back. It'll be second down and 5. He steps out of bounds, stops the clock with 53 seconds remaining in the first half.
Jesse Clark, I think, is going to be a star in this league. As I said earlier, he averaged near 6 yards a carry coming into this game. He's strong. He's 233 pounds, was a state discus champion from the state of Arkansas when he was in high school.
Good hands, too. We mentioned earlier, coming into tonight, 73 handles of the ball without a fumble. Second and 5. Packers might be thinking points once again. No, they give it to Clark. Clark, again, big yardage. First down for the Pack out to the 47-yard line. Now they're thinking points, and they use a timeout, stopping the clock with 47 seconds. First and 10, the Pack. They have the ball inside their own 47-yard line. They trail the Chicago Bears 21-7. 47 seconds remaining in the first half. And movement all along the line of scrimmage. This has not been a thing of beauty to watch tonight. There's been a lot of contact. Scuffles have broken out throughout the first half. We've had 3 interceptions off the Packers. The Bears have fumbled the football 4 times. Not your cosmetic beauty. And another penalty coming up. Here's Chuck Heberling. Hold it, boys. I have something to say.
Ball start, offensive line. Still first down.
Well, they did it in unison. So it'll be inside the 42-yard line of the Packers. First down and 15. There is young Randy Wright. 6'2", 194 pounds.
With the left off, the Packers, first and 15 from near 42.
Now they're changing the time on the clock. So will be a moment while they adjust the situation. And now we're set to go. First and 15. From the shotgun. Twice from the shotgun now. They have come with draw plays with Jesse Clark. Now they'll put it in the air. Randy Wright, this is Kaufman. And Kaufman close to field goal range, down to the 36-yard line. Gary Finsick made the stop, and the Packers go quickly with the hurry-up offense. Now there's a flag down at midfield. It appears to be against the Bears. Yes, it is.
Holding defense, number 21. The penalty is declined. It's first down.
Leslie Frazier was holding. The defensive back to the Bears. Penalty declined. His first down, Green Bay. 36-yard line of the Bears. And clock is started by Heberling. And the shotgun. Wright gets it off. Gets it complete to Lofton, but Wright paid quite a price. He was really decked by Richard Dent. Let's watch Richard Dent again. He is so agile coming from that outside. Working against number 67, that's Swanky. He beats him once again. Wright delivers the ball. Down he goes in the arms of Dent. Dan Hampton is also there. That's about 500 pounds plus. 5-yard pickup by Lofton. 37 seconds now remaining in the first half. Green Bay will have a free one. The Bears were in the neutral zone, and the flag went down. Dan Hampton again pressuring Randy Wright. Flag is down at the line of scrimmage, and we should have an offside call against Chicago. Dan Hampton appeared to encroach into the neutral zone. Here's Chuck Eberling again.
Number 99, defense, offside, second down.
Dan Hampton stepped into that neutral zone. Down will remain the same, and about a yard short of a first down. Packers have one timeout. They need to keep that. In case they have to stop the clock to get the field goal unit on the field. Andy Wright gets it down in the general direction of Lofton, who had picked up a couple of Bears in double coverage down there. Durison was back. Leslie Frazier, they were offering double coverage on James Lofton.
It was interesting on that play because if Lofton would have been running for the end zone, he would have had one-on-one coverage with Frazier, but he was trying to run a delayed pattern over the middle. That's the second time they've tried that, and Dave Durison, who was lining up near the line of scrimmage, is running back, taking that away from Lofton.
Packers have third down and 1. And they bring out different people. McMichael comes out. William Perry comes in. Now he plays in the position he is more accustomed to be playing in. In short yardage, he anchors himself right over the center. And Randy Wright has called timeout. The Packers have no timeouts remaining. It'll be third down and 1, and we are now told that the injury to Lynn Dickey was not a charged timeout to Dickey. He left the field on his own, so they were not charged with a timeout. They have one timeout remaining.
This may be the best opportunity for them to go for the end zone, Joe. With 26 seconds left, they have 2 plays. Getting the first down, I don't know if they have enough time.
Well, I'd try and get the first down right now, because they do have one timeout left. They can get 3 plays off if they have the first down.
Ivory. And Ivory gets the first down, but did he get out of bounds to stop the clock? Yes, he does. With 20 seconds. Good running by Ivory. Could have perhaps turned that back earlier and got the first down, but he stretched it out, got the first down, and was able to kill the clock by getting out of bounds.
Well, they're going to have at least
the head coach. That's Bob Schnelker, the offensive coordinator with the glasses on. He calls the plays. Right under pressure, tries to get it deep in the end zone, doesn't do so, and is picked off. Durison. Another Packer interception, the 4th of the night. Four times the Bears have picked off the Packers. The flag is down. Durison brought it back out to the 20-yard line. Dave Durison filling the big shoes of holdout Todd Bell, who remains a holdout after the trading deadline, which was last Monday. Along with Al Harris, 2 key elements of the Bears defense from a year ago, both remain holdouts.
Injured player,
55, Otis Wilson.
Illegal block, number 55 on the return. First down.
Believe me,
Wilson with the illegal block, and he was shaken up on that, Joe.
I know he didn't want to throw that block, I think, especially if he'd known of this result. I'll tell you, this interception occurred because Dave Durison was freed up in the secondary, and all Dave does is look at this quarterback, turn his head over there, and play center field. Durison had no other responsibility but to play center field back there and read the quarterback's eyes. That's what he did, and that's why he got the interception.
Bears are playing Bear football. I guess you'd call it Coyote Ugly. They've had 7 possessions tonight, 3 touchdowns and 4 fumbles. And they have it back at their own 10-yard line. There's Dave Durison. He was a nickelback a year ago. With the holdout of Todd Bell. He played Pro Bowl football a year ago. He stepped into those shoes Perhaps doesn't do the same job, but certainly has been filling in an admirable way. The same for Wilbur Marshall, who has filled in for an absent Al Harris. First down and 10, the 10-yard line of the Bears. They have a 21-7 lead. 10 seconds remaining on the clock. This is Walter Payton. And Payton will step out of bounds, leaving the clock with 4 seconds, just short of a first down. Randy Scott over there defensively. Halftime again. We're going to take a look at some of the great players from the Packers and the Bears that have been competing for so long and so bitterly over the years, going back to 1921. Second down, less than a yard for the Bears. Matsui. That's the end of the first half. It wasn't pretty, but the Bears fans love it. They lead the Packers 21-7 at the end of the half. We'll be right back. With the second half about ready to get underway, Willie Gauld and Dennis Gentry are playing a little game with place kicker Al Del Greco. The Bears want Willie Gauld to get the football with his great speed. He leads the National Football League in kickoff returns with a 32.9 average, and this will be Gauld from the 6-yard line. Nothing happening in Gauld out over the 20-yard line, where it'll be first and 10, the Chicago Bears. We get the second half underway. Still no word on Packers quarterback Lynn Dickey. We'll try to get a more definitive report on the extent of his injury. But right now, the Bears have a first and 10, the ball at their own 21-yard line. McMahon remains the Bears quarterback. With a cool move at the line of scrimmage, and McMahon will have a first down. A great move by McMahon. Right at the line of scrimmage, just ducked under Charlie Martin and rambled for the first down.
But I think old Jim's going to have to develop that Roger Staubach slide. I don't like the way he went down once he got upfield. You can injure his shoulder too easily. Nice move by Jim right there. Really great athletic ability. But he can hurt his shoulder and his rib cage even worse like this. Woo! Not a good way to go down.
McMahon with the first down at the 34-yard line. And we understand now that Lynn Dickey is out for the rest of the game. A pulled muscle. We were told when he went out in the second quarter that it was a pulled thigh muscle. We presume that is what it is. This is Walter Payton. In a sprint to the sideline, he goes out of bounds at the 40-yard line. He picks up 6-yard line, 6 yards, it'll be second and 4, taken out of bounds by Brian Noble, the rookie from Arizona State. Speaking of injuries, we lost one of our pals, Billy Edwards, who works our sideline and has for so many years, is down in a Houston hospital. We're running tests tomorrow. We know everything is going to work out because he's tougher than a boot. But we miss him. We have a second down and 4 for the Bears. Keith Van Horn, who went out for part of the second quarter, the strong offensive right tackle for the Bears, is back in the lineup for the Bears. But McMahon looks over the second and 4. Moorhead is on the move for the Bears. It's Payton. And Payton trips up over Mike Douglas. Gets about a yard out of it. It'll be third down and 3. And let's take a look at the halftime statistics. Turnovers, they were the big item. And not many of them took place in the first quarter. The 2 Green Bay turnovers, interceptions. The 3 Chicago turnovers were fumbles. And they remain fumbles and interceptions. Not a pretty first half. The Bears don't mind. They don't really care. They have the lead 21-7. They're in here looking for a 7-0 record, along with the Los Angeles Rams, to remain the 2 unbeaten teams in the NFL. Third and 3. McMahon throws it back across the grain to Suey. He bobbles the ball. Was it a completion? No, they're saying incomplete. He never had possession. That will bring up a 4th down for Chicago.
Well, Suey appeared to be open that time. Tom Flynn, the free safety, was on the coverage because Green Bay had an all-out blitz coming this time, and Flynn just couldn't keep up with Matt as you see him in the chase position, but Matt never did have control of the football.
Yeah, that was really an athletic move on the part of McMahon to get that ball off. Under pressure, back across his body. There's Tom Flynn. He's come on for Green Bay. Rookie Walter Stanley, who has been running the bunch back for Green Bay, has been having his problems, so they bring out Tom Flynn. He did this kind of work for Green Bay a year ago, and Buford gets off a high towering kick that will go into the end zone, and Green Bay will have their first possession of the second half at their own 20-yard line. 59-yard punt, but a 39-yard net. So Randy Wright is the quarterback on the spot for the Green Bay Packers, as Lynn Dickey will not return tonight. We'll be back. Another baseball item of note, Bobby Cox, who did such a fine job with the Toronto Blue Jays this past season, winning the American League East, has resigned, and he is going to move on to become general manager of the Atlanta Braves. That confirmation just in. First down and 10, the Green Bay Packers. Their first possession here in the second half. The toss is to Eddie Lee Ivory. And Ivory will lose yardage to the 19-yard line. Hustling Otis Wilson in there defensively. And Joe, if you're the Green Bay Packers, you've lost your starting quarterback. You're 21-7 down. What are you thinking right now?
Well, I'd change things up, and I'd go with what Randy Wright does best. He's a good passer, but he moves around a lot. I think he'll be able to avoid these Bears a little bit if he can sprint out some. Of course, Lynn Dickey, you know, the fine quarterback that he is, was immobile back there. We'll see what they do now.
Second down and 11. Wright is back. Gets the ball to the tight end, Kaufman, and Kaufman all the way to midfield for a Green Bay first down. And they'll mark it at the 49-yard line on a 31-yard pickup as Kaufman beat Gary Fensick, and Randy Wright again under pressure, but he got the ball to Kaufman.
You know, Paul Kaufman, they weren't even looking at him when he was at Kansas State, the pro scouts. Paul actually asked John Meyer, the scout for the Packers, for a tryout. He got it, and they signed Paul Kaufman.
And he's been in the Pro Bowl the past 2 years for the NFC, the big tight end, number 82, Paul Kaufman. First and 10, Green Bay. Kaufman in motion. Right, wide open is Jesse Clark. Clark is dragged down by Dave Dorson, but not until he gets inside the 25 to the 24. That was one you better believe that offensive coordinator Bob Schnelker put up on the board at halftime to take advantage of something the Bears were doing defensively.
Well, they sent Kaufman in motion to the right, and he took the linebacker out of there, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is one of those plays one of the down linemen should have tried to pick up the back. Of course, Jesse does a good job of eluding this Fensick.
Randy Wright has the Green Bay Packers on the move. Wright is back again, and again under pressure, trying to get it to Lofton. He had to hurry that pass. Lofton was wide open, but Wright had no way he could hold it long enough to get it there. Once again, Richard Dent. Pressure from that blind side of the right-handed passer.
Well, the Packer quarterbacks have been doing an excellent job of getting rid of the football. It's hard to believe there's not been one sack on a Packer quarterback tonight, but because of all that pressure, they have thrown 4 interceptions.
It's hard to believe the Packers don't have something in their offense to get the quarterback outside to avoid that rush.
They haven't sacked him, but they've been deep breathing all over them. Second and 10. Wright is back again. Again, pressure. Tries to get it in to Ivory, incomplete, and that could have been very close to pass interference. Mike Singletary arriving there with the football. It'll be third down and 10. Gary Ellis comes in, good receiver out of the backfield for the Packers. We're in the third quarter, 11:05 remaining. The Bears and the Packers. The Bears with a 6-0 lead in the Central Division of the NFC, looking to become 7-0 along with the Los Angeles Rams. The only 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. The Green Bay Packers are 3-3. They have a third and 10. Here comes everybody. Gary Wright tries to get it to James Lofton. The position was perfect by the defensive back, Leslie Frazier. Green Bay would have loved a flag. They didn't get it.
Tell you one thing, someone should tell Wright. He threw an interception at the end of the first half. The ball was thrown a little short to James Lofton. James Lofton being one of the country's great athletes and one of the great leapers. I'd get it up as high as I can and out in front of James.
I'm sure he would have liked to, but he has been very busy dodging Bears. Here's Al Del Greco, 42-yard field goal attempt. Zorn is the holder, former Seattle Seahawks quarterback. That ball is blocked. Bears playing Bears football. And out of the pile comes Richard Dent. First the refrigerator, now Richard Dent. A flag is down. And another fight breaks out. Now the flag is picked up, and they'll mark it at the 22-yard line. The Bears get yet another turnover. The block field goal. And we have timeout. Soldier Field, Chicago. The Bears fans are loving it. It's not pretty, but they like it.
From the end zone, we'll see that block field goal attempt. The first thing you want to do as a defensive unit is get penetration. So they push the Packer offensive line. Look at number 98, Tyrone Keys at 6'7". He gets up there and gets a hand on it.
And the Bears get the ball back. Richard Dent brings it out to the 22-yard line. Walter Payton following Suey, and Matt Suey gets a block at the line of scrimmage, and Payton works to the 25-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. There's Tyrone Keys, third-year man out of Mississippi State. He's 6'7", 270 pounds. He got the surge just like O.J. mentioned. Then he stretched out that long frame and got the hand on the football. Bears have a second down and 7. McMahon, all the time you could ever ask for. Finally, he is pressured, throws it in the general direction of Emory Moorhead. It's incomplete. Ezra Johnson finally got away from his block and pressured McMahon into the pass. It'll be third down and 7.
Well, the coverage down there, downfield that time was good by the Packers. They dropped their linebackers back, their corners, and the safeties played zone coverage. There just wasn't any place to throw the football.
This game to open up with the Packers taking a lead. Lynn Dickey to James Lofton from 27 yards out, and then it's been all the Bears. Payton scored 2 yards out. William Perry from 1 yard out, and Walter Payton again from 1 yard out. And the Bears lead the Pack 21-7. The Bears at their own 25-yard line have a third and 7. Everyone's coming for the Pack. McMahon tried to get it off to Payton. Tom Flynn was on the safety blitz, and he was all over McMahon. It'll be fourth down.
Tom Flynn's a heck of a football player. NFC Defensive Rookie of the Year in '84. He led the team with 9 interceptions last year.
McMahon now is limping. There's a young quarterback who suffered through all sorts of injuries a year ago, was only able to start 7 games. He had a lacerated kidney, had a hairline fracture in the bone of his hand, all kinds of problems. Tom Flynn is back now. Packers should get good field position. Buford just does get it away, and he gets a towering punt that drives Flynn all the way back to the 24-yard line, where he has to make the fair catch. And again, a late hit, and another fight is broken out of the 23-yard line. Need a little help from his friends. Tom Flynn was in the pack with a bunch of Bears, taking some pretty good shots there from Stephon Humphreys. Cooler heads prevail, and the Packers will go to work. The ball near their 23-yard line. Timeout once again, Soldier Field in Chicago, and we'll be back with more action in just a moment. Jim McMahon is flexing his left leg. He limped off the field a moment ago. He was hit on a safety blitz. It looked as though he fell on his fanny, and that is what he has been rubbing. Meanwhile, the Green Bay Packers have a first down and 10. The ball at their own 23-yard line. Draw play is Jesse Clark. This play has worked well for the Pack tonight. And Clark gets up close to the 30-yard line. Gain of 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. The ball just inside the 30-yard line. 2nd and a long 3 for the Pack. Lofton, he'll have a first down for the Packers out near the 37-yard line. Hope you enjoyed that halftime feature we had about some of the greats that have played in this series over the year. And while we were watching it ourselves, into our booth came Jerry Kramer, the author of a book, bestseller, Instant Replay, of a few years ago. He's got another one out called Distant Replays, and he goes back and revisits some of the players that he wrote about in Instant Replay. Fuzzy Thurston is in here, the restaurateur. Max McGee is doing radio for Green Bay. Dick Butkus doing radio for the Bears. What a colorful series this has been. They're all here tonight, the ones I just mentioned. Right on 1st and 10, trying to get to Lofton. One hands and a wonderful catch.
That was sensational.
Wow, we in traffic. Lofton, great concentration between Fensick, Richardson, one hands it. Comes down at the 40-yard line, first down Green Bay.
Oh, the coverage is very good here. Leslie's all over him. The pass is a well-thrown pass, but I'll tell you, it's just simply a great catch, a great catch. Actually, that was Mike Richardson that was in the coverage that time.
23-yard pickup. Green Bay down 21-7 with their backup quarterback, replacing Lynn Dickey. It's Randy Wright in his 2nd year out of Wisconsin. Wright has to throw this one away. Durison was covering the intended receiver, Gary Ellis. And once again, Wright under pressure. I don't think the Packers have thrown the football tonight, perhaps once or twice, without some kind of pressure from the Bears.
You know, that Randy Wright kind of looks like Bart Starr to me when I see his face, kind of that boyish, good-looking man. Looks like Bart Starr.
He does, doesn't he?
What I'm surprised at, it seems like number 85, Philip Epps, is getting one-on-one coverage more so than anyone else tonight. He's a 10.1 sprinter. I would send him to the end zone.
2nd and 10. Randy Wright tried to get it to Epps. I don't think they have time to get him to the end zone. That time they broke him off at about 10. He was open. Wright couldn't get it there. Pressure once again. It'll be 3rd down and 10. Buddy Ryan, the defensive coordinator, the outspoken defensive coordinator for the Bears. It may look like it's all mixed up down there, but each one of those Bears is in perfect harmony and coordination with his teammates. It's all by design, and you have to be together a long time to make it function. We're seeing more and more of this type of defense throughout the NFL. 3rd down and 10. The ball is loose, and the Bears get it. First sack of the night. Hampton gets the football. Tyrone Keys was in on the sack. That's the first time they have got to the Packers quarterback. They've been pressuring all night. You knew it was inevitable. Let's take a look at it.
That's right. I still can't figure out why the Packers don't have the old floating pocket. Lenny Dawson in Kansas City used to have it years ago. When a team is putting this much pressure on you, you have to be able to cross up the defense. Set the pocket up to the left or the right, not always in the middle.
Probably, mainly, I guess, because of Lynn Dickey is not a mobile quarterback, and for the most part, he's the guy they work out with.
Dan Hampton gets the football for the Bears. 1st and 10 at the 49-yard line of the Packers. McMahon is sacked. That's the first sack on McMahon of the night as he goes down at the 42-yard line, a loss of 4. Donnie Humphrey, the nose tackle, number 79, in on Jim McMahon.
Well, Jim just didn't see Dennis McKinnon that time, probably because of Humphrey. But McKinnon had a nice turn-in pattern. He beat Mark Lee across the middle. He was wide open.
9 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. NFC rivals, the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Bears trying to extend their lead in this NFC Central Division with a 7-0 record. Packers would like to put a halt to that. They're 3-3 into the night. Second down, 13. McMahon will go down again. This time it's Brian Noble, the rookie linebacker from Arizona, who went around the horn and gets McMahon at the 41-yard line. And this game is really genuinely ugly.
That's the best pass defense there is, to get pressure on that quarterback, get in his face, make him throw it quickly, or else hide the receivers from him. Right now, the Packers are looking pretty good defensively.
So many games have been played this way over the years between the Packers and the Bears. We've had about 4 or 5 fights that have broken out. That's nothing new in this rivalry that goes back to 1921. George Halas was coaching then for the Bears. Curly Lambeau for the Green Bay Packers. Now it's Ditka and Forrest Gregg. 2 NFL greats have played against each other in this Central Division. Third and long for McMahon. This is Payton. Payton struggles and carries a Packer inside Packer territory to the 48-yard line, short of the first down. And out comes the punting unit again.
Well, I think Jim let him have that swing pass just a little too quickly. Had he been able to hold on to the ball another second, would have given Walter more running room.
Quick word from Walter Payton to Jim McMahon. And Tom Flynn back once again for Green Bay at the Packers' 10-yard line. Buford to punt. Well, we saw him talking on the sidelines. And a good move by Moorhead. Moorhead was very patient. He waited for the block to develop in front of him. And the Bears, with their second trick play of the night, have first down yardage as there's a big pileup right in front of the Packers bench.
Well, number 51 of Green Bay, Guy Prather, did his job. He was covering Moorhead. But
maybe they don't have the yardage. They're very close to it. The Bears are saying they do. Yes.
He was covered. He just didn't make the tackle.
Moorhead played that very cool. The ball was there long before his blockers. He gave it a little stagger step as we watch it again. Buford with the pass to Moorhead. Moorhead just almost be stationary, waiting for the blocks. Suey in front. First down, Bears. Buford hasn't punted that well tonight, but he's 1 for 1 passing. Bears at the Packers, 44-yard line. Walter Payton. And Payton just skips to the outside and rips off 8 yards down to the 36-yard line, taken out of bounds by Tim Lewis. It'll be second down and 2. Frank Gifford along with Joe Namath and O.J. Simpson. The Green Bay Packers into the night 3-3 in the NFC Central Division. The Bears 6-0, looking to go 7-0 and stay with the Los Angeles Rams as the 2 undefeated teams in the NFL. Packers scored first, 27-yard touchdown pass, Glenn Dickey to James Lofton. Then it's been all the Bears. Payton scored. William Perry, the big defensive tackle, took it in from 1 yard out. Payton again from a yard out. That's where we are right now. The Bears leading the pack 21-7. Glenn Dickey is out of this game. Cold muscle. Randy Wright, the quarterback for Green Bay. This is Walter Payton. Almost pulls free. He does, however, get the first down near the 27-yard line. John Anderson made the stop.
That's just good running and good power blocking. Wasn't nothing fancy about it. They just ran off tackle and every man got on a man and Walter picked his way.
So many pages in the press guide of the Chicago Bears devoted to Walter Payton. You could go on and on about what this young man has done. I've said it over and over. The thing that has impressed me more than anything else, a running back, 143 consecutive starts as of tonight. He's missed 1 game in 11 years. And he has another 100-yard game tonight. with a lot of time remaining in the third quarter, and down goes Jim McMahon. Brian Noble gets across the line of scrimmage, the rookie linebacker from Arizona State.
I don't think Jim likes this very much, these guys jumping off sides and wrestling them down. Well, I'm not too sure that's going to be a 5-yard penalty when they come off sides that clean and hit the quarterback. Good way to put a quarterback out of the game.
Indicated against the Green Bay Packers. All kinds of movement along the line, and they mark it off. Here's Forrest Gregg.
Number 91, defense, offside. Still first down.
Defensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers, another teammate of mine, as is Bob Schnelker. The defensive coordinator is Dick Modzelewski. He really works that sideline still. Very excitable. Omo. Walter Payton with yet another 100-yard game. His 66th career 100-yard game. Really remarkable. Here he is again. Looking back inside. He'll be short of the first down as he squeezes inside the 20. Close to the 19. Stopped there by Brian Noble.
That was a good hit by Brian Noble. They did get some outside support that time from Mike Douglas, and he forced the runner to turn back inside, and he turned him right into Brian Noble, and a good hit it was.
Second down, a little more than a yard for the first down. Peyton and Suey, they've been the setbacks tonight for the Bears for several years now. That looked like a messed up play. McMahon gave it to Walter Payton. He looked like he didn't want it, O.J.
Well, he looked like he saw that the linebacker had a good angle on him, and I think he felt if he could have eluded him, he'd had nothing but running room to his left, but unfortunately he wasn't able to do it. With that short of yardage to go 1.5 yards for the first down, I'm surprised Walter just didn't stick it up in there or jump over the pile.
That was Mike Douglas, by the way, the linebacker for the Green Bay Packers that nailed Payton for the loss. Third down now, a little more than 3, and we'll put the Bears back into a passing down. Green Bay's coming again. This is Suey. Suey turns the corner, gets inside the 15. Bear first down near the 14. Tim Lewis made the stop. Pack in a full blitz. Suey got outside, an easy first down.
He got outside because Mike Douglas was blocked, and Mark Murphy gave no outside support that time. It was good blocking.
That's the time remaining in the third quarter.
The bad news for Green Bay is they're getting into William the Refrigerator Perry's territory.
You weren't with us earlier. The Bears have trotted out William Perry, a 350-pounder. They call him 325. He's somewhere in the range. They've got him in there on all their goal line offense tonight. On first down, McMahon looking for the end zone, and Willie Gault incomplete. And William Perry has been awesome when they get down close. There he is. Rookie first-round draft pick, defensive tackle out of Clemson. They started using him a week ago against the 49ers. I don't know whether it was, again, as I mentioned earlier, out of spite, but the 49ers used Guy McIntyre very effectively in their short yardage offense against the Bears a year ago out in the NFC Championship game. They trotted him out, William Perry, did the Bears last week against the 49ers, and tonight he has really been effective. He's been a lead blocker on 2 of Walter Payton's touchdowns, and he's carried 1 in himself. We're getting down into his range again. Second down and 10 the Bears. Play action by McMahon. Dumps it off to Suey, and Suey's inside the 5 near the 4-yard line. And Perry is loosening up on the sidelines. And Brian Noble made the stop. The crowd is chanting, "We want Perry."
The most unhappy man in this stadium is George Cumby. He's the guy that Perry has blocked on 2 of those touchdowns.
Listen to this. He has electrified this crowd. And now Walter Payton is trying to get the crowd even more fired up. Big number 72 is in there.
Get low, Cumbie. Get low.
Payton this time held at the line of scrimmage. And once again, Perry was the lead blocker. That time he was met at the line of scrimmage. Payton tried to squirt to the outside. Nothing working there. Let's watch him again.
Well, Green Bay got smart on this. They slanted the line to that side, the side that Perry lined up on. He still got an effective block.
Cumbie is going to have a nightmare tonight, and it's going to wear number 72. Cumbie is 52. He has felt Perry on 3 different occasions. That time Payton up close to a first down, and they'll bring the markers out. Jim McMahon looking on. Just a little short by that much.
Well, the fans want him to go for it, but this kind of game, I'd kick the field goal.
I'd give it to Perry.
21-7 lead. It would take. This is going to be decision time. And I think Mike Ditka has made his decision. Yeah. Go for it. It's a fun football team. They do things a little different.
Well, the fans like it.
Well, they love it. The town is literally fired up, upside down. They don't even talk about Green Bay this past week. Not a word. It's just, can we go through the season undefeated and into the Super Bowl? Perry will be the lead blocker, or will he be the ball carrier? Play action by McMahon. In trouble. But he almost gets it to Moorhead. So, Green Bay will get it back. 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
Joe, that was not the smartest play.
I didn't like it. They should have kicked the field goal. I don't care. 24-7, that makes them get 3 scores. Now it's 21-7. I think they should have went for the field goal.
2 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and we have time out of the field. The decision was made by Mike Ditka. Green Bay has it back. A Bear gamble on 4th down and less than 1. And it did not materialize. The Green Bay Packers have the football inside their own 4-yard line. Mike Ditka, of course, gambling on that, but he also is showing a tremendous amount of confidence in his defense. It's a 21-7 lead, and he has the Packers deep in their own territory, and the Packers have been turning the football over all night. So Ditka is thinking both ways, or was thinking both ways, when he gambled on that 4th and 1 pass. Randy Wright is back. Fires a shot complete to Lofton. And Fensick drives Lofton out of bounds. Had he been able to turn that corner, there's not anyone on that field would have caught him.
And then we have a 7-point game. I like passing the football down here. You have a lot of room to work with. 100+ yards, actually. But that was a good pass.
And a good effort by Lofton. What a great athlete. Never forget our Denver game in a blinding snowstorm a year ago. Lofton, in a losing effort, about 11 passes for 206 yards. He has 6 tonight for 92. Woo. Another great effort by Lofton. He comes down with it, short of the first down, but good concentration once again. The ball marked inside the 31-yard line of Green Bay. Ellis. And Gary Ellis has the first down. He's out near the 43-yard line as Gary Fensick made the stop. So the Packers get it out from deep in their own territory. A couple of good shots by Randy Wright, filling in for Lynn Dickey, to James Lofton, and a nice run by Gary Ellis. Once again, Randy Wright started earlier in the season against the Cardinals. He's 22 of 41 coming into tonight, a couple of touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Second-year man out of Wisconsin. He's the quarterback for the Pack. Play action, and Wright is hit again as he tries to get it to Lofton. That time he was really hit, and he is slow getting up. They are really pounding Randy Wright. Soldier Field, they completed it in 1924 as a memorial to World War I veterans. It's seen some great events. I mentioned the Dempsey 25 to 27, $2 million $2.5 million gate there. USC played Notre Dame here back in 1927. They drew 123,000 people here, the largest crowd ever to watch a football game. Notre Dame won that, by the way, 7-6.
Ooh.
Great old stadium with a lot of storied history. 2nd and 10, Wright is back again. Off the fingertips of Kaufman, as once again a Bear was bearing down on Randy Wright. That time Steve McMichael, the really unsung member of that front four of the Bears. Although you're beginning to hear more and more about Steve McMichael every day. 6'3" man out of Texas. 3rd down and 10. You think the Bears will pin their ears back and come on this one?
Randy Wright and Lynn Dickey, too, they need to have a talk with this offensive line of the Packers. Now, Bears aren't blitzing every time. They're getting people free just on one-on-one pass rushing. The line's doing a lousy job for the Pack right now.
From the shotgun. Flag is down. Hoffman had first down yardage. He's near the 49-yard line of the Bears, but that flag is down at the line of scrimmage. It's against the Green Bay Packers. Illegal motion. Packers have another quarterback, a very familiar name around the National Football League, Jim Zorn. Played 9 years up in Seattle, replaced a couple of years ago by Dave Craig, but while he was a starter for Seattle, he passed for over 20,000 yards, 207 touchdown passes.
Motion, number 82 on the offense.
It was Kaufman, the receiver, who had the first down, who was illegally in motion. But right now, the quarterback on the spot is Randy Wright.
Well, Zorn is certainly the quarterback you're talking about, Joe, the guy who has the ability to roll out and throw the ball, but I just don't think that form of offense is in their game plan.
Obviously not.
3rd down, 15. That's again from the shotgun. Randy Wright gets it away, but he is pounded once again as Jesse Clark could not hold on. And Randy Wright is going to have some bruises on his body tonight. Let's take a look at him again. Coming around the horn, Richard Dent. 6'5", 263 pounds. Randy Wright, I'm sure he hurt him. And you got to admire the courage that these things take their toll over the course of a game. Taylor is back for the Bears on 4th down. Prokop to punt. Taylor at the 21-yard line. And tripped up at the 30 and gets to the 32-yard line, where it'll be first down Bears. Hustling down there. Former Jet acquired by Green Bay, Mark Shoemate. Green Bay was 8-8 last year, the 3rd consecutive year they were 8-8. But it looked good for the future because they were 7-1 over the last 8 games. And Forrest Gregg winning 7 of those last 8. Bears, of course, 10-6 as we look at Walter Payton on first down to the 35-yard line. Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. Dropped there by Brian Noble. Should be the final play this 3rd quarter. Bears dominating in typical Bear fashion. They're leading 21-7. Green Bay, however, still within range. We'll be back after this from our station. We begin our 3rd quarter. Bears have the football. They have it at their own 35-yard line. 2nd down and 7. And here's the man who has put together this defensive unit for the Chicago Bears. You knew him, Joe, when you were with the Jets. Crusty, outspoken, but he is a very skilled practitioner of defense.
Very good coach. He put together our Super Bowl champion defensive team. We worked together for a few years, and I tell you what, the players really love him.
And Mike Ditka and Buddy Ryan, they absolutely say exactly what they think and feel. Kind of refreshing. 2nd down and 6. Walter Payton, he's over 100 yards on the night. He'll get a bunch more now. Up close to a first down. Mark Murphy came up to make the stop for Green Bay. The kind of night you look forward to, isn't it, O.J., when you're a running back? Put some big numbers on the board.
Well, if they're going to go to the Super Bowl, here's where Walter's going to be, I guess, at his most valuable for this team, because when they get a lead, they got a 2-touchdown lead. There's a lot of time left in the game. Who knows? Green Bay may catch on fire, but they'll just run Walter at them. That'll eat up the clock, and, you know, maybe they'll even score again.
The thing about it, even though we have not seen it in effect tonight as we get the measurement, this is no longer a one-dimensional team with McMahon at quarterback, Willie Gault on the outside, Dennis McKinnon, when he's healthy, one of the fine receivers on the opposite side. And take a look at it with our reverse angle camera. Gives us Okay, let's take a look at the stats. We'll start at halftime. Pretty much Chicago all the way. Turnovers were even, pretty messy in that first half. Now we'll switch it over through the third quarter. Still Chicago, although Green Bay was able to move the ball a little bit with Randy Wright. And as you can see, turnovers have been such a factor in this game. There have been 9 of them. How about time of possession? It means nothing, does it? Green Bay dominating there, and they trailed 21-7. You saw how close Peyton came to the first down. Third down and inches for the Chicago Bears. McMahon will carry it for the first down. He took a long count, hoping to draw the pack off sides. He didn't do so. Followed Jay Hilgenberg, the center, for a Bear first down. I think the Bears are just going to methodically try to work on the clock now. Run Peyton 2 or 3 times. Give it to Suey. Maybe if things go right, send Willie Gault on a fly pattern. Mike Ditka, 9 years, coach of the Dallas Cowboys, following an all-pro career as a tight end with these Bears and the Eagles and later the Cowboys. Came here 4 years ago and has turned things around dramatically. McKinnon, I believe, was the intended receiver. McMahon goes down and he was shaken up. Brian Noble put a hit on McMahon, who's slow getting up, and he is really rocky.
I tell you, McMahon has developed a bad habit of jumping up when he throws the football. There's something he used to tell us running backs: you can get hurt more while you're in the air. So try your best to stay on the ground as much as you can. And tonight, I bet you on at least 7 occasions I've seen him leap into the air to throw the ball.
That's Noble, and he catches McMahon as he releases the ball. And McMahon was very slow getting up. Now he limps up to the line of scrimmage, looks over a 2nd down and 10. McMahon is 2 of 8 here in the second half. Matsui. Hard running to the 49-yard line. 4-yard pickup. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Randy Scott was there defensively for Green Bay.
I think Randy may have hurt himself a little bit. He put a real nice shot in there, but he did it with the side of his helmet, and I see he's leaving the field right now.
But a good game tonight. The inside linebacker over the left side for Green Bay. John Dorsey comes in to replace Randy Scott. Dorsey, number 99. The chant is "Let's go Bears." Oh boy. And McMahon, I think, wants to talk with Ditka. I think he's also has been shaken up. He calls timeout. Bears leading the Packers 21-7. We're in the 4th quarter. Bears have a 3rd down and 4 of the ball at their 49-yard line. Walter Payton. And down goes Payton, and a flag goes down with him. Mike Douglas in there on the stop. But again, a flag is down.
Mike Mad Dog Douglas.
A lot of penalties, a lot of turnovers. If you were with us earlier.
Holding, offense number 75. Penalty decline, 4th down.
Andy, so the Stephon Humphreys was holding. Declined by Green Bay. They won it back. Got 9 turnovers. As Phil Epps drops for the Green Bay Packers. With that great speed. If he could turn the corner, he would be gone. O.J. touched on it a while ago. Great sprinter in his collegiate days at TCU. Buford hits a good punt. Epps at the 3-yard line. And he very wisely steps out of bounds at the 10-yard line. So the Green Bay Packers starting deep in their own territory once again. Dennis Gentry hustling down there. Good punt by Buford. The Bears got Buford late in August from the San Diego Chargers. That time he got one off 53 yards.
That was a good punt, but it was a bad decision on Phillips Epps' part, or else the man that should have been helping him down there. You don't field the ball on the 5-yard line. It's going to go into the end zone.
Well, you have to admire the kid, Joe. Nothing has been happening for these Packers since early in the first quarter, so maybe he was just trying to make something happen.
Well, I'm sure he was trying, but that was not a good decision.
They have not even threatened since their first touchdown. And Fensick almost picked off another one, intended for Phil Epps. Fensick stepped right in front of Epps, almost came up with it, and getting up very slowly is Randy Wright, and he is limping now. This game has been tough on quarterbacks. Here's Epps, a little slant in. Watch number 45, Gary Fensick. It'll be second down and 10.
Well, that was kind of a strange play. You see, Epps was sprinting out to his right and throwing a slant pattern over to his right. It just drew Fensick into the coverage.
Randy Wright has not been sacked all that many times, but he has been buffeted and whacked. Almost on each occasion he tries to get rid of the ball. Here comes the blitz. Wright. Epps comes back to the football, and he'll have the first down in front of Mike Richardson out to the 47-yard line.
Yeah, I'd use that play more often.
You see Epps just on a full sprint right under pressure, just threw the ball away. Now Epps sees the ball, and Mike Richardson, knowing that Epps has all that speed, puts his head down. Epps sees the ball and comes back for it, gets the Green Bay first down.
We were playing the Raiders one time. We're backed up on our own 1-yard line. I made 2 underthrows just like that to Don Maynard. We went 99 yards for touchdown.
But you did it on purpose.
That's right.
That last one wasn't on purpose.
Green Bay. They're still in this one. They're down 21-7. But they're in danger of losing another quarterback. That was Steve McMichael. As Randy Wright goes down again. Also in there, Dan Hampton.
Well, there's a mix-up here in the backfield. Either the quarterback turns out the wrong way or the back goes the wrong way. He faked to the left when he maybe should have been faking to the right. So the play got started poorly, and they never did quite recover. That McMichael's having a heck of a year for this Chicago Bear football team.
8-yard loss, back to the 39-yard line. Second down, 18. Right, has the time, looks for Lofton. That ball was almost picked off.
That had to be.
Fensick and a late
Interference, yes. No, he ran into Lofton. That's going to be defensive interference.
Well, Gary Fensick is saying I was playing the ball. They're allowing that this year. Gary Fensick was going for the ball. The flag came late. And it has changed so much pass interference this season. You play that football,
it's
hard to draw the penalty.
There's no foul on the play.
And that is not a foul.
Oh, no foul.
Let's watch Lofton. All Gary Fensick has to be doing is playing that ball. They can't run through the receiver. He's not allowed to do that, but he's in front of the play.
Yeah, well,
Turns around. He almost caught the ball.
One thing for sure, if you had a quarterback with an arm like a Neil Lomax or someone like that, Lofton may have had a touchdown, because even though he didn't appear to be open, he was on the verge of running away from those guys if someone could have thrown it far enough.
Third down, 18. Forrest Gregg, he has really been upset all along the sideline this evening. Offensively, the Packers have been unable to get anything happening since their first touchdown drive. And their quarterback has been hammered all night. Richard Dent. coming around the horn once again. And Jim Zorn, the Seattle Seahawk quarterback, is warming up on the sideline. We don't know whether we'll see him, but he's staying loose. Let's pause 5 seconds and allow our stations to identify themselves. Soldier Field in Chicago with the Bears leading the Green Bay Packers, two NFC Central Division rivals. Bears leading 21-7. The Packers on 4th down. Prokop, the punter, in the game. Ken Taylor is deep for the Bears. Prokop had to hurry that. And Ken Taylor executes the fair catch way upfield at the 35-yard line. Sean Gale almost blocked that punt by Prokop. And it forced Prokop into a bad punt of 30 yards. And the Bears have good field position once again. That's been the story all night. The former Seahawk quarterback, Jim Zorn, who started for so many years, 8 years out there for Seattle, from the days when they became an expansion franchise in '76, warming up on the sidelines. He came to the Green Bay Packers after the 3rd week of the season. Chopped around the National Football League. The Packers finally picked him up. He's warming up, we might see him. He passed for over 20,000 yards with Seattle in his career out there, 107 touchdown passes, and pretty good passing percentage, considering it was a franchise that was in trouble in the first few years. We may see Jim Zorn. Meanwhile, the Bears have a 1st and 10 at their own 35, and McMahon gets one off downfield and almost picked off.
I don't believe
Tim Lewis steps in front of Willie Gault.
I don't believe it. I'll tell you, philosophy-wise, now this Green Bay Packer team offensively, they haven't been able to do anything all night. Why don't the Bears just run the football now, run the clock down? If they can't get a 1st down, give the ball back to Green Bay. They can't score.
Jim McMahon is coming out and Steve Fuller is coming in. Jim McMahon was shaken up early in the, well, about midway through the 3rd quarter. He's a tough, gutsy guy. I got a feeling that he is hurt a lot more than it appears.
Well,
he wanted to stay in, and he went back in for one play, and Mike Dick could pull him out of there right away. So Steve Fuller's in the lineup as the quarterback, number 4. This is Walter Payton. And Payton works to the 39-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7, upended by Donnie Humphrey.
Unfortunately, throwing the ball on 1st down at this stage in the game forces them to look to throw the ball here on 3rd down because it is a passing situation. But in football, just like in boxing, you got to know how to close out a guy. And Chicago should have closed these guys out by just running the ball.
Fuller, of course, not new to starting jobs. He was a starter for Kansas City for 3 years before he was traded to the Rams 2 years ago, as we look at Jim McMahon being worked on the sidelines. Started 4 regular season games for the Bears a year ago and was their quarterback of record through the playoffs last year. Green Bay's going to blitz him early on. Willie Gault was there, and Fuller almost got it to him as Fuller gets pounded. So Steve Fuller, who came off the bench, he didn't even have a chance to warm up. And they are working on Jim McMahon on the sideline. 4th down, Chicago.
Jim's got several bumps and bruises, and I know his rib cage is hurting him some. He has a slightly torn rib cartilage, but he's a tough guy. Just like Lynn Dickey, you know. Some of those quarterbacks, they'll bite the bullet and play.
Green Bay has the speed back there, and Epps. Buford on to punt. Long count. Buford puts it up high and puts Epps in the corner. This time he does let it bounce, and it takes a bound into the end zone, and Green Bay gets the touchback. Marathon here in Chicago yesterday, and I tell you, they must have had about 10,000. Jim Zorn is the quarterback now for Green Bay. Steps it off to Ivory. And Ivory just short of a 1st down up near the 30-yard line.
I like that play for a first play. Hey, that's my first quarterback coach at the University of Alabama. He played for Coach Bryant in 57, 58, 59, and 60, and that man taught me how to run the option. Maybe that's why I didn't run it anymore after I left Alabama. Bobby Skelton. Hello, Bobby. See, I like that last play. First play for Zorn. He's not real warmed up yet, and so he comes with a screen pass. That was a good play.
Had some big years, as I mentioned before, at Seattle, before he was replaced by Dave Craig. Second, less than a yard. Gary Ellis will get the first down. He's near the 35-yard line. And I understand that is a sprained right ankle for Jim McMahon, and he will not be coming back tonight.
A gain of 6.
So many injuries a year ago. McMahon only able to start 7 games.
35.
And, of course, missed all of the playoffs with that lacerated kidney. McMahon leads the game, 12 of 26, 144 yards. I said earlier, this has not been a thing of beauty. The Bears have been effective when they had to be, just as they are right now. That is McMichael. 4th sack of a Green Bay Packer quarterback tonight. A loss back to the 31-yard line. It'll be second down and 13.
This Bear defense really is not doing anything tricky right now, or they haven't been the whole game. They've just been whipping the Packer linemen man to man.
That's the kind of domination we've watched tonight. Just about even. The score, 21-7, the Bears over the Packers. Jim Zorn uses a Packer timeout. He was running out of time. Rather than take the penalty, he calls timeout. We'll be back at Soldier Field in a moment. And for so many years, he played the College All-Star game here, up until 1976 to be exact. Well, that one was washed away. Right now, the Green Bay Packers down 21-7 with 7:36 remaining in the game. Have a second down and 13. The ball near the lone 31-yard line. And Jim Zorn is the quarterback. Zorn tries to get it to Kaufman. Incomplete. Again, Bears pressure on a Packer quarterback.
Well, in all fairness to Green Bay, they are playing 2 rookies on that offensive line. Number 57, Rich Moran, who was a 3rd-round draft choice. And, of course, their number 1 draft choice, Ken Rutger, out of the University of Southern California. And for rookies to be up there looking at this, Buddy Ryan, a complicated defense is pretty tough assignment.
Blake Moore comes in to do the snapping for Mark Cannon at center for Green Bay on 3rd and long.
If someone wanted to know what I'd call for here, I'd call for help. I'll tell you, a new offensive line.
They better hurry and get it off. And they almost didn't. The draw play fooled no one. Gary Ellis goes down. The loss is back inside the 30 to the 28 as the Bears defense headed by McMichael, and Singletary was there once again. Steve McMichael, you don't hear that much about him with Dan Hampton and Richard Dent. Singletary, Gary Fensick, last year with Bell and Harris. But he is the rock in that defense.
Well,
Tough against the run.
Dick has said this week, Frank, that he was the best defensive lineman he had right now.
Prokop to punt. Dave Durison is back. Prokop. Not high, not long, and Durison returns it to the 39. Good field position once again for the Bears. They have 6:42. Oddly enough, in a sloppily played game, dominated by the Bears, Green Bay still is in this. They're down 21-7. If they could get anything happening whatsoever, plenty of time. Walter Payton, who is rushed for over 100 yards for the 66th time in his 11th career, carries it over the right side for a couple. Fisticuffs spring up briefly once again between Ezra Johnson and Mark Bortz.
This Packer defense has done a pretty good job tonight. They didn't get any help from their offense at all. They've had to stay on the football field practically all night long, and yet they're still within reach of winning this game. The Packers defense really have done a commendable job tonight.
Interesting. Defensive coordinator Dick Modzelewski, offensive coordinator Bob Snelker for Green Bay. On the opposite side of the field, offensive coordinator for the Bears is Ed Hughes. They all played together at the Giants. Second down and 8. Oh, and Fuller had a man wide open, Reitman, but he overthrows and a flag is down.
coverage to play. Flag on the play.
And this time it'll be against the Packers. Busy night for referee Chuck Heberling. Here is referee Heberling.
Unnecessary roughness, number 79 on the defense. That's 15 yards, first down.
Johnny Humphrey, unnecessary roughness, and that's McMahon's ankle. They immediately put that ice on there, of course, to try and keep the swelling down. He'll have that on there probably for 24 hours. Tough cookie. Told you a couple of times about the game up in Minnesota where he was a catastrophe quarterback. With the Bears down by 17-9 in the third quarter, they brought him in and he pulled that one out with 3 touchdown passes. 44-yard line, 1st and 10 the Bears. Fuller overthrows Ken Marjoram.
I don't know why they're passing the football. First down.
Second and 10 of the Packers, 44.
Green Bay actually had the lead early in the game, 27-yard touchdown pass. Lynn Dickey, James Lofton. Then it has been all Chicago Bears. Peyton, 2-yard touchdown run following big William Perry. And then William Perry, the defensive tackle, carried it on his own from a yard out. Then it was Walter Payton once again from a yard out. Showing you that, in case you joined us late. And we have 5 minutes and 42 seconds remaining in the game. 44-yard line of Green Bay. 2nd down and 10, the Chicago Bears. And here's Walter Payton. Slips as he tries to turn it upfield. Loses a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 11. And we mentioned big William Perry. Let's go back and look at it. It's unusual to say the least. This is in the 2nd quarter. He usually has been used as a lead blocker. He carried the ball a couple of times against the 49ers, but tonight, a lineman's dream, a touchdown. Hurdling that huge body across the goal line. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Mike Tomczak, the rookie from Ohio State, comes in at quarterback for the Bears. Out comes Steve Fuller. As we look once again at Perry. And Green Bay promptly calls timeout. So Tomczak, who has not even run off an offensive play, was in the huddle, ready to go. Gets the timeout, comes back over, talks a little more with Mike Ditka, and we'll move into the huddle. He, of course, is a free agent out of Ohio State. 2nd leading passer in the history of Ohio State University in yards. Had 32 touchdown passes. Had a total offense there of over 6,000 yards. So young Mike Tomczak, 6'1", a 195-pounder, is in at quarterback. 3rd down and 11. Mike Tomczak comes in. That will be his first situation. Usually when you get a young quarterback in there, you blitz him. He bobbles the ball, and Tomczak is hammered. Mark Murphy hit him, but the Bears were able to recover it, so they do avoid the turnover. Tomczak, a rookie from Ohio State, coming off the bench, really gets hit. The Bears were able to cover it, so they'll bring out the punting unit.
This is one of the sloppiest games I've ever seen played by a quality, good football team.
Or 2 of them.
24, the Bears 42.
Phillips is back once again. 9 turnovers we've had tonight. That could have been 10. Earlier this season, there were 11. That was a game between Seattle and Kansas City. Can't give you an NFL record for turnovers because no such stats, we are informed, are kept. Corey Buford to punt. Epps is back. He'll take it at the 10-yard line. It gets to the 18-yard line. The flag is down back at the 10-yard line. Another flag down. Once again, referee Chuck Heberling working it out.
Illegal block, number 27 on the receiving team. First
Gary
down.
Hayes with the illegal block of the Green Bay Packers. Instead of taking over at the 17-yard line, will be at the 5-yard line. First and 10, the Pack. They have been in trouble all night. Zorn. This will be a safety. Zorn sacked in the end zone. He had no chance whatsoever. I think they will credit Otis Wilson, number 55. But it could have been one of 4 Bears who would have got the sack. Hampton was there, Dent was there, and McMichael was there. And Zorn is slow getting up. Bears will grind on you. They'll whack on you. They don't do it pretty, but they're very effective. Watch it again. Here he comes, Otis Wilson. Zorn spins away from it a little bit. McMichael is there, then Wilson is there, and the safety.
Eddie Lee Ivory made a good block on Otis Wilson that time, but there were just too many Bears back there in the backfield.
It was Otis in our meeting this morning that told us that these guys just enjoy one another. They have fun together. They like one another, and they enjoy this game, and they're playing like it.
Chicago leading now 23-7. Green Bay will put it in play from their own 20-yard line. The punter, Prokop, is out there. Willie Gauld is dropped back for the Chicago Bears, along with Dennis Gentry. They like to get the ball to Gauld if they can. Right-footed kicker, so they'll put Gauld over on the far side. Right-footed kicker. However, Prokop is a left-footed kicker. You would think that Gault would be over on the other side. They do kick away from Gault, but he steps in front of Gentry. Oh, here's lightning. To midfield.
I'll tell you, I was looking for an onside kick there. I know from the punter position it wouldn't be a good idea, but why not bring the place kicker out and try an onside kick in that situation?
Bears have it back once again, midfield.
I've never seen it done, but I'm sure it's possible. Hey, they're down, 16 points. They have to get the ball back. They're not going to score points without the football.
Lots of changes for the Bears. They bring in James Manis, the rookie from TCU. The quarterback now is Steve Fuller, back in the game. Tomzak, the rookie from Ohio State, who bobbled a snap from the center of the shotgun, is on the bench. And now Fuller pulls away, and there's a scramble at the line of scrimmage. And Fuller was able to cover that ball.
You know, that was going to be another pass play. Both wide receivers went deep that time. That was going to be another pass play. I'm stymied.
Well, it's going to hurt them if they play ball like this late in the season in the playoffs. You got to know how to finish your team off. And you finish your team off like this by running the ball and running out the clock.
This has not been a pretty thing to watch. It's 2nd and 12. Walter Payton. He's fun to watch. No matter what kind of game you're involved in. He's over 100 yards again tonight. Gets a couple that time. It'll be 3rd down and long once again. 3rd and 10. Payton came in tonight for 422 yards at a 4.7 clip, 20 receptions, 1 touchdown. He's gained 112 yards rushing tonight. And he has also been effective as a receiver, 4 receptions, 40 yards. Willie Gault on the move, number 83. Fuller gets it to Gault, and Gault will be close to a 1st down at the 40-yard line. Cade was up there defensively, the rookie number 1 draft pick from San Diego, who did not sign a year ago and was signed recently by Green Bay after they gave up a 1st-round draft pick to the San Diego Chargers for his rights. 1st down, the Bears, 39-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. As we tick off the final seconds to the 2-minute warning. And there it is. The Packers have 1 timeout remaining. The Bears 2. We'll be back. 39 39-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. First down and 10, the Chicago Bears. The quarterback remains Steve Fuller. Walter Payton and Matt Suey stay on as the running backs. Fuller wants to put it in the air. Goes underneath, gets it to the big tight end. Reitman, who powers inside the 30-yard line, even though Tom Flynn was giving him a pretty good ride. Reitman listed as a rookie from UCLA, actually was a third-round pick of the Bears in '82 before he decided to join the USFL. And we have another flag that's going to bring this one back. Probably holding and against the Bears.
57 offense, holding, first down.
Tom Thayer, the rookie guard on the right side. They call him a rookie, but he too has performed for 3 years with the USFL. The blitz, and down to Arizona. He's filling in for an injured Kurt Becker, who's on the injured reserve. Did a fine job last week, as a matter of fact, against the 49ers, did Tom Thayer. 1:49 remaining. Bears now backed up. It'll be first down and 20 there at the Green Bay Packers 49-yard line. Fuller on the sprint out. Looking for Reitman, and Reitman stays in bounds, keeps the clock moving, gets 11 of it back. It'll be second down and 9.
What? I can't imagine what the Bears are trying to prove at this point, passing the football. Are they concerned with the tie-breaking system at the end of the season and points?
Well, they can force Green Bay to use up their first downs just by running the ball a couple of times. That would pretty much cinch it. It's cinched as it is, the way Green Bay's offense has been operating tonight.
Talking about timeouts, they only have one. There is Perry, the hero of the night. He put some spice and fun into this game. If you weren't with us, the big man, the big rookie defensive tackle, led the way for 2 Walter Payton touchdowns from in close and scored 1 himself. Fuller being dragged down from behind. Ezra Johnson pursued him, stripped the ball, it looked like, but did he get there late? Flynn comes up with it. Nope. The Bears will keep possession. It'll be third down and 10.
Well, maybe Mike Dick is trying to see how Green Bay reacts to rollout type passing. They do have to play him in the next few weeks, so maybe he's trying to see how they react to it.
Fuller on the sprint.
I hope there's a good reason for all this.
Ezra Johnson with the long reach. And
That's a fumble.
Could well have been called a fumble. Third down and 10. And there's Mike Ditka. Next Sunday for the Chicago Bears. They'll be entertaining Minnesota right here.
Oh, Green Bay called a timeout with 12 seconds to go. Down by 16 points.
I really don't believe they did this, but they did. They used their last timeout. They're going to pull this one out, trailing 23-7. Timeout with 12 seconds remaining. And Fuller talking it over with head coach Mike Ditka. For the Green Bay Packers, next Sunday they'll be at Indianapolis. We're going to watch these Chicago Bears once again, December the 2nd, down in Miami against the Miami Dolphins. At the 39-yard line, third down and 9, and Fuller is back. He wants a big one to Marjoram, incomplete. That'll bring up fourth down, stops the clock with 6 seconds on it.
There's something going on here that I don't understand, and I don't think it's making Forrest Gregg a happy man.
Well, I don't think Forrest and Ditka care much what the other one thinks.
You've heard of breakfast at Wimbledon? This is breakfast from Chicago. Great football player, Hall of Famer, 1977. I had the honor and privilege of going into Hall of Fame with Forrest Gregg. What a class we had. Bart Starr was there. Gale Sayers was there. Bill Willis. That'll do it. The Bears remain undefeated, along with the Los Angeles Rams, the only two